Okay, we are live with another schedule there, didn't they, Alice?
Yeah, I was like, what?
Another day with Zenler. This is session 2. And as usual, the same time every month, who turns up? It's the amazing Alice. So Alice always surprises us. She's got a really nice subject today. So I'm going to leave it to her for her to talk about it. She's going to leave a few minutes at the end just to talk about the summit. So we can put a link in and we can send you into the summit if you haven't registered yet. And so how are you, Alice? You're good?
I am fabulous. It's nice and late morning here in the US, so I'm still having my coffee and I'm ready to go, David.
Ready to rock. All right, I'm going to let
That's right.
Alice rock it out for the next 50 minutes or so. If you need me to pop in, add anything, just give me a shout.
You know, you're always welcome to join me on anything I talk about, David.
Oh. All right, over to you.
Thank you. Okay, so I wanted to keep with sort of the theme that we've been talking about today on A Day with Zenler. So you've had Howard and Kirsty on earlier today talking about presentation skills for either in person or even on video. We will have Andrew coming on later today to talk about important technology when it comes to video. So I wanted to kind of keep it a theme. It felt like it was a good theme going today. So I'm going to talk to you about being prepared for live video in the sense that it's a live video prep list. So we're going to talk about where you start when you're thinking about using live video, because there's a lot of different things. And so I just want to give you a good start off here, especially for those of you maybe who haven't used live video before, or you've dabbled a little bit here and there, so you don't really have a system yet. And I think this is really going to be helpful for you. So I'm going to share my screen because I prepared just a couple little slides to help, because sometimes seeing, reading, and hearing can really help you learn, because we all learn a little differently, right? So hopefully this will hit just right for everybody. So there we go. Let me move myself out of the way there for you. Okay, so live video prep list. So we're going to be talking about where to start when you're thinking about using live video. And we have a pretty good list of what you need to prepare. And so here, let's make this a little smaller so you can see it. So what you need to prepare. So we're going to talk about things around mindset, topics, format, duration, outline, description, your greeting, your introduction, a call to action, because we all need that, your location, your platform, your schedule, promotion, and the all important follow through. So these are the things that we're going to be covering today. And the first of these are mindset. So one of the things that tends to happen, I've done a lot of live video coaching over the years. I had a live video course for a long time and a membership. And one of the biggest obstacles that people face when it comes to doing the live video is mindset issues. We get bogged down with the idea of are people judging us? Do we look good enough to be on camera? Is our tech good enough? Do we have the right camera? Do we have the right microphone? Are all of these things good enough? So instead of just pushing that live button, we get stuck in all of those things, and overwhelm and fear and doubt in ourselves. So the number one thing you need is you need to get your mindset right. Okay. If you go on to your favorite YouTuber or favorite person that does Facebook Live or Instagram Live or any one of these platforms, someone that you follow that does a lot of live, I would say especially YouTube, because YouTube's been around for a very long time. And if you go to a channel that's been around for a long time and you see their most current video, it'll probably be really professionally edited. They'll have professional backgrounds, all these things. Their look will be nice and sharp, on brand for them, right? They'll have all of these things in place. But if you scroll back, like all the way down to like the first video they ever did, they have no green screen. They're probably in their bathroom. They have like, they're not even using earbuds or a microphone, or maybe they're just using earbuds. And they're just like, hey, this is what we're going to do today. And it's kind of weird to see it. Sometimes it's weird because it's like being in a time warp, right? You've gone back in time and you see, oh, this is what this was the style a few years ago. The point is that you need to start where you are, and you need to embrace starting where you're at. It's okay to take step forward and learn while you're taking action, right? Because the best way to learn and gain experience is through that action. So no matter what we talk about today, you have presentations earlier today from Howard and Kirsty. You're going to have a bit of tech knowledge coming from Andrew after I'm done here today. But don't let all of this information overwhelm you. Like, all you have to do is get on camera, take the action. That's the only thing truly that will help you learn and grow, is through that experience of just doing it. So I really cannot stress that enough. Just take the action. So hopefully you're able to do that. Okay, so now let's go on to the next thing, topic. So before you go live, you have to know what it is you're going to talk about, right? And there's a lot of different ways that you can figure out your topics for your live video. You can do, you can research, you can check Google Trends for topics related to your industry or your niche. You can go to Answer the Public. That's a website. You get 2 or 3 free searches a day. You put in a keyword of a topic or a niche or an industry, and it will give you a list of questions in all different formats for that keyword. So that will help you, that can help you come up with topics that you can do your live videos about as well. You could do research in Facebook groups about topics related to your industry that people are talking about or answering a lot of questions about. So there's a lot of things. FAQs, most frequently asked questions. If you're brand new in business and you don't have any frequently asked questions, look at other leaders in your industry and look at what their FAQs are. What are the most commonly asked questions in that industry? And you can use those to help you get started with an idea of topics. And I'm going to give you a little tip here on what to talk about and talking about. When you decide on your topics for your live videos, or even any sort of live interaction that you have, maybe it's a webinar and you want to do a workshop or a class, like whatever those things are, you know your industry, you know your niche better than anybody else does, like better than anybody. You are eyeball deep in it. And so you need to take yourself back to when you didn't know anything, right, about this topic or this industry, because that is more likely where your ideal clients or ideal audience for a particular topic will be at. Sometimes we tend to overshare. We give too much. We give too much value. We talk about things that might be over our audience's head at the time. We also do things like use a lot of industry jargon when we're talking, and your audience doesn't know that. You're in the industry, so you know the industry jargon and it comes naturally to you. But you have to, if your ideal audience is in your industry, like they're like your business to business and they know the same language that you do, they're experienced, then you might not have as much of an issue with that. But for the most part, you want to watch industry jargon with your topics. You want to make sure that you're presenting in a way that information that's relevant to them and in a way that they'll understand it. So that's going to be really important with the topic. So just do it. It takes a little bit of research. Okay. And then you will have You 20 minutes of research could probably give you a year's worth of content ideas or topic ideas. Okay. So just a little research. Don't overwhelm yourself. Hello, my name is Alice and I go down rabbit holes all the time. So I can get lost in the research too, but just keep it simple. Come up with a list of like 10 to 15 things to give yourself room to brainstorm your ideas and your topics and whatnot. So make sure to do that. Your format. So there's different types of formats that you can do when you are on live video, when you're presenting content, right? So formats could be like a myth format, right? It could be like, here's 5 myths that most people believe about weight loss. Or it could be in the form of like a listicle, the top 10 things that you need to know to have green lawn, right? So different formats. So choose what kind of formats you might be the most comfortable with. This is something that you might want to test out when you get on camera to see what you feel comfortable with. Do you feel more comfortable giving like a formal presentation? Do you feel more comfortable having a bullet pointed list of 1 through 10? Does your audience like you to bust myths that are out there for them? So there's a lot of different formats. So you're going to want to figure out what the best format for you and for your audience is. Figure that out. And that you might have to play around with. But the simplest way to get started that I found, that a lot of my clients in the past has found, is to do like 3 things you need to know about this, or 3 things you shouldn't do here. So something with that number, so that makes it easier for you when you get on camera, that you just have those 3 things to remember, right? And you can have that little list in front of you. So kind of figure out what format you want to be able to present information in, how you want to do that. Your duration. This can play into your format a little bit as well, but your duration is, how long do you want to be on live video for? Do you want to do a quick 5-minute live? Do you want to do something longer, 20 minutes, an hour? I mean, a day with Zenler, we do 2 3-hour sessions, and today I think it's a 4-hour and a 3-hour session, right? So so you could play around with that. Maybe you don't have the stamina just yet, or the confidence to get on video for an hour yet, live, and that's okay. You can start out with those little quick 5-minute things, and just know that we're going to talk about this in a bit too. There's different platforms and different things, places and purposes for going live will sort of lend themselves to, okay, this should be longer, this should be shorter, right? Because we have this trend now, like if you're doing the TikTok video, then it's a shorter video, right? If you're YouTube even has YouTube shorts, you have reels, you have, so you depends on the type of content that you're going to do as well, what that duration is. It might be decided for you, right? Because some of these have a like, has to be under 2 minutes, has to be 30 seconds, has to be, right? So those might determine it for you. But if your live is going to be like streaming live on YouTube or on Facebook or Instagram, if you're going to be doing something like that, or even just doing a live webinar or a live class, then those might be longer durations for you. So maybe map that out for yourself, and give yourself time to play around with different lengths, because that will also help you when it comes to the algorithm. Like sometimes some platforms like longer video, some platforms like shorter video, some platforms like you to mix it up, do a couple of really quick things, on some occasions do some longer things. So don't get too caught up in it, but when you're just starting out, get yourself like, okay, 5 minutes, I'm going to do a 5-minute live real quick, get these 3 points out, and then I'm going to get off of here, right? So you can just practice and start to get comfortable. Outline your content. So once you have your topic, once you have kind of that format figured out, what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, and you know that it's going to be approximately that 5 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever that is, then you want to get yourself an outline. Now, some people do like to have a script, and they like to write out every detail of every word they're going to say, and they like to have it sort of teleprompter style or on the screen so they can read it as they're doing that. And if that's what makes you feel comfortable, then do that. If you're more comfortable just kind of getting on camera and talking, having that outline on the side just to help you in case you lose your place, right? Someone maybe will ask you a question that you'll try to answer if you're doing it on live video. Someone comments and asks a question, and then you get distracted and you kind of lose your place. So the outline will kind of help you get back on track and make sure you've covered all of the right pieces of information. But you have to do what feels comfortable to you. I prefer not to read a whole script, because a lot of times when I see people do that, and I can tell that they're reading a script, and that's not terrible, right? It's not terrible to know someone's reading a script. But it just depends on who your audience is, what your industry or your niche is, whether or not that will actually resonate with them. Sometimes if you're just reading, then it loses a little something in that space, and people might feel disconnected from you if you're reading versus just talking to them, right? And one of the things that happens when you're reading is you're looking more at the screen to read the text versus looking at the camera, which feels awkward. But when you're looking at the camera, really what you're doing is looking at the person on the other side of the camera that's watching you, right? So it makes it feel like there's eye contact and that you're connecting with them. So that's one of the reasons I don't like it personally, but you have to go with what works for you and what feels good for you. If having a script to read is what feels right to you, then do that. Absolutely 100%. You have to do what works for you. So do that. But at least have a little bit of an outline for yourself at the bare minimum so that you don't forget what you're talking about, and it will just help you. Having that outline will also help you make sure to put in place some key messages that you have for your business and your messaging and for your audience. When you put that outline together, it gives you a way to structure this information in a way that has the most impact for your audience. And it also has the most impact for you because you can structure it and put in those key messages where they need to be. Description. Describe in like 1 or 2 sentences or 3 sentences or a paragraph, like whatever you feel comfortable with, what this live video is about. And make it a high impact type statement that you can use when you stream onto social media. So you can use this description for YouTube. You can use this description for Facebook or Instagram or any of these other platforms, but work out what that description is. You can make sure you're using some keywords in that description because most of these platforms either have a search function directly in the platform that will help people find this content. And even Google, when you search particular topics, they will pull in things like YouTube, well, because, you know, they are related. So you'll get YouTube results in Google. So the results within the platforms and the results in Google if you're live streaming. So make sure that those descriptions have those keywords in it. And when you did your topic research, you were kind of using that keyword research, right? You were looking at Google Trends, you were looking at Answer the Public. These are things and terms that people are searching for already online somewhere. They're questions people are asking in Facebook groups or on Reddit or on any of these other places, right? They're out there, they're asking these questions. So they're already there. So put them together in a nice description for yourself so that you can take that description and paste it into any of these places where you're going to post this video. or where you're going to stream this video. Your greeting. So how are you going to start your video? Kirsty was on, and I did see a bit of her presentation, and she talked about starting not with the idea of, oh, hello, this is what we're going to talk about today. And starting with something really punchy, like, what's your, thoughts on XYZ, or whatever that powerful statement related to your content is, right? But find a way to start this video that will resonate for you and the audience, because it's going to be different for everybody. Like, for example, with Zenler, we come into the Facebook group live all the time, and it's not always like, how do I want to say, it's not necessarily what some of the experts or guru would say is a great way to start a presentation or a live video, right? Except we have a specific kind of relationship with you in our group. We have a specific relationship with you in our community that we tend to just show up and get to business, right? We tend to just show up and be like, here, we want to show you and teach you this thing. Like, we've had some questions about this. So, hey, I'm just going to come in here and show you this thing. And I'm going to give you this training. And you know what? These are the things that you all have been talking about. So let's do some training on that. I mean, Manmeet did Japanese today. Okay. She was teaching y'all Japanese, like lots and lots of fun things there. Right. So it was a lot of fun. And so we just go with it. Right. And we like that, and you all like that, so we keep doing it. But find a way, because not everybody's the same, right? Not every audience is the same, not every person is the same. For example, there are a lot of people out there. What did Kirsty say? Oh, people come on and say, go with lots of energy. I happen to know a couple of live streamers that have a ton of energy, and I love them so much, but I would not be able to get on camera and be the same way. It would be awkward, and it wouldn't be authentic to me and who I am. So if you happen to be a high energy person and that's your personality, then that's what will come through on camera. That's what you put across. And that's how you greet people. The same thing for the opposite of that. If you're a little bit more formal, if you're a little bit more laid back, then put that into your greeting. Present yourself in a way that's authentic to you and not what you think other people want to see, right? And just because you like that particular style, like I love the high energy from these couple of people that I follow. I think they're amazing, but it's not, I wouldn't do it that way, right? So know the difference between enjoying it when you see it from somebody else and what you yourself would do and present like, okay? But find that way, but get those words. That might be the time where you want to kind of get those words and that energy. You might want to refer back to Howard's training from earlier today, where he talked about how to warm up and just prepare yourself for being on camera. And that could be very helpful for you as well, because then after the greeting, at some point, the greeting is more like welcoming people in and welcoming people to the conversation, telling them what you're talking about. And at some point, and it doesn't have to be at the beginning, but at some point in that presentation and conversation, you're going to want to introduce yourself to the people. Some people start with, hey, I'm Alice Mirriam. It's probably not best. If you watch some of the best YouTubers, you will see that they start their topic, they start that conversation, about there's 5 things you need to know if you want to have the greenest, luscious lawn in town, right? Hey, in case you didn't know, my name is, in case you're new around here, my name is, right? Like they give you that topic, they pull you in, kind of like what Kirsty was talking about earlier today. You give them that topic, you pull them into the conversation, because they want to know that information. And in order to get to that information, they'll now listen to you say who you are. Is pretty much how it goes. And that's kind of feel like it's that way for all the platforms. Now, if you're doing that short form content, like the TikToks or the YouTube shorts, you really don't have an introduction, right? So some of these might not be relevant depending on the type of live video that you might be doing, because you can do live video. Oh, can you live stream shorts? I'm not sure. But you can do live TikToks now. And you can do these quicker, shorter ones where maybe an introduction isn't necessary, right? If you're doing longer live streams and you're doing it with your group coaching program and it's a live class or live webinar for them, they already know who you are. Maybe you don't really need to do an introduction, right, with those people because they know who you are. So make sure it's relevant to your audience, how you open it up, how you greet and welcome them into the live that you're doing, how you introduce yourself, right? And then you want to make sure you know what your call to action is, right? And all of these things that we're talking about here, these are all things that you're doing before you've even pressed the live button, before you've done any of that stuff. You're getting that topic, you're researching that format, how long you're going to be live, you're getting that outline done, you're figuring out how you're going to greet people, how you're going to introduce yourself. And now you're going to figure out, what is this call to action, right? Because every piece of content, you're in business, and that we're businesses here, right? We have courses, we have membership, we have group coaching programs. Every single thing you do has to have a call to action. So what is that call to action going to be? The call to action could be something as simple as, tell me where you're at, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be a call to action that says, here, buy my thing. Calls to action can be many things, but maybe you have a new checklist that you want to tell people about. Maybe you have a new course that you want to tell people about. Maybe you have a special offer you want to tell people about. But it doesn't always have to be about your offer. It doesn't always have to be about joining your list. It could be, if you're new, it should be, let's say that. It's probably a best practice to direct people somewhere like to your site, because if you're live streaming on someone else's platform, then you want that call to action to be something that drives them to your site. Maybe you're doing a live stream and you're doing it on a topic that you've also written a blog post about, right? So that call to action could be, if you want to learn more about this, go check it out on my blog, right? That could be a call to action, and that call to action drives the traffic back to your site. The call to action could be that you want people to share this video, that you want people to comment on this video, that you want people to ask you questions. It just depends on the purpose of this video that you're doing, the purpose of this particular live. It depends on what you have available, and you kind of want to change it up on your videos, just like you want to test out those types of formats that you're doing, whether you're doing myths or listicles or something like that. You want to test out different formats to see what people like. You want to test out your call to actions too. You want to change it up and make sure that you're giving a lot of different options to people. And that gives you data, right? That gives you numbers to be able to say, you know what, these types of call to actions really work great on my Facebook Live videos, or these types of calls to action really work great on my YouTube channel. You need to track that data. There are some industry standards out there that you can research and find information on what kind of works best, but it's going to be different for different industries, different audiences, and it's going to be different for you and your audience. So the best way to know what those are is to just test them out, but just know that you need one and work that into your outline, because you're going to need that call to actions. Any call to action. If you don't feel comfortable saying, hey, go buy my thing, or go check out this thing, make it a call to action that you feel comfortable with. Because here's what happens. When you give that call to action and somebody follows through with that, that's that's you building a relationship with them, right? You're building that stronger, better connection with your audience when they're following that, when they do that call to action. Just like when you send an email sequence, that initial, when someone signs up onto your list, that initial welcome nurture sequence that you put them on is sort of training them to look for your emails, to click, to open your emails, and to follow the calls to action that are in there, right? You're sort of training them to do that for you. And the same thing goes with your call to action on a live video. If they're following through on it, the people that follow those calls to action, those are warm or hot leads because they're following through with what you're asking them to do. And when they follow through and go to that blog post, you want to make sure there's a call to action in there, right? And you want to keep it going as best you can. So always at least plan your call to action and what it's going to be. Doesn't have to be sales related, but at least plan out some type of call to action. Location. So if you're going to live stream, you need to know where you're going to or do a live video or like a live webinar or class. You need to know where you're going to be located when you do it. And I don't mean like, hey, I'm in Florida, USA. I mean, right now I'm at my desk and I have, my green screen behind me. This is what I'm doing. This is where I do all of my videos from. You may not have that. Maybe you like to do, I know a friend of mine used to do live videos when they went for a walk outside. They would press the go live button and chat with people while they were out for a walk. So it could be that that's what you're doing. It could be that you, if you're showing people how to cook something, then maybe your location is going to be in the kitchen, right? So just know where it is. Choose ahead of time where you're going to be going live. This is going to help you figure out some of your tech pieces, which Andrew's going to talk to you about later today. Your lighting and is this a smaller space? Are you using your phone? Are you using your webcam and camera, laptop, that kind of thing? But just know where you're going to be. And it also helps you. Do you need Wi-Fi connection? Are you using your cell service, like your data? So you have to figure that out, but know ahead of time where in the world are you going to be, specifically your physical body, what room, what indoors, outdoors, where are you going to be? Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Your platform. So you have the content figured out, you have all of these bits and pieces figured out. Now you need to know where are you going to be using live video. So traditionally, if we're talking about live streaming, there's YouTube and there's Facebook and there's IG. If you have the right amount of followers on the TikTok, you can do live streams there. But there's other kinds of lives, because at Zenler, we know you can do a live class where you're not actually streaming to a platform, you're streaming for yourself, for your audience. Via Zoom, you're in a live class together, or you're in a live webinar together. So that could be live because that's a live interaction, and you still need to have all the same considerations that we've already talked about. Whether you're streaming live on Facebook like we are right now, or you're streaming live for a class or a webinar, you have to know what you're going to talk about. You have to have that information, your outline. You need to know your physical location, where you're going to be. So, your lighting situation, right? Like you need to know all of those bits of information, regardless of if it's live on Facebook or if it's live on a Zoom session via a class or a webinar. So, but decide what platform. Like, are you streaming to a platform? Are you streaming just via Zoom, going live in the Zoom to do a class? And don't worry too much about trying to be on all the platforms. There's always going to be a new platform. There's always going to be ups and downs. There's always going to be people that say, oh, streaming on this platform doesn't work, or this or that. People are always going to say things. All you can do is figure out, what platform do you like? Also, what platform do your ideal clients like, right? Because you need to know that. You need to find one. Maybe you have 3 platforms that you really like, and one of them's, Instagram is the number one, but your audience, the people that are the best fit for your courses or your programs, really don't care for Instagram. They prefer YouTube. And YouTube's your second one and their first one, right? So there's got to be some crossover. You have to know where your audience is at. That is going to be really important, but it should also resonate with you too. You have to find that. Some people will say balance, but I say balance makes me think of walking a tightrope, and I don't like the idea of that. I don't want to walk a tightrope. Thank you very much. But you have to find the sort of flow between and that overlap between what your ideal audience and clients like and what you like, right? You have to find just the right fit, like a little puzzle piece, right? So figure out what that is. And you don't have to do all of them. Pick one, start with it, get the content out there. And once you get comfortable and familiar with it and you work out a process, just like when you started using your Zenler site, right? When you first started, it took you longer to do stuff. And now you know where everything's at. You can probably, those of you who've been with us for a while, breeze through setting up a page now, setting up a webinar funnel. It's a couple of clicks and doop, and it's a piece of cake. Whereas the first time you did it, it took you 10 times as long, right? The same thing for when you're using live video, whether it's through YouTube, Facebook, just a Zoom webinar. It's a little bit slower when you first get started. So once you've incorporated one and gotten really used to it, then you can kind of dive into another platform and start to learn that one because you already have that one figured out. You can quickly do it. And now you can take the time to kind of learn this new platform and how you want to present there. Right? So you can do it in stages. I mean, if you're like a real go-getter and you want to do them all, then do them all. Like, I'm not here to hold you back. I'm just saying you don't have to. There's no one right way to get started with live video. There's not one platform. People do this all the time. People are like, oh, you have to be on TikTok. You have to do this. And it's the best. It's this, it's that. And I'm just like, no, I don't have to be on there. I don't like it. I don't want it, right? Like, because it is, even if my ideal audience, some of those folks are on the TikTok. It's true, but they're also on other platforms. And so I choose to find them elsewhere besides there. And so you have to do that too. You don't have to be on any one platform. That's always going to happen. People are always going to be like, oh, you have to be here. You have to be there. You're crazy if you're not there. This is the place to be. I mean, wherever you and your ideal audience feel comfortable, that's the place to be. Okay. So I think I'm going to stop ranting about that one, but just choose the platform that you feel comfortable with and that you know your audience is also there. Okay. Your schedule. So schedule is something that we at Zenler deal with on a very, very regular basis. I am constantly juggling between time zones, right? How do we schedule this so that it's in my time zone at a great time for me, but that it's also a great time for other people in other time zones around the world, because we're everywhere. We're in the middle of planning the summit, and in creating that schedule for the summit, I have to look at, okay, we're originating it for a BST time zone, right? We have all of these speakers in all different time zones, right? We have China, India, Jerusalem, the US, the UK, right? We have people all around the world in this summit. And so I have to figure out all of those time zones and the right place to put them. So for you, one of the amazing things about being online is you do need to know where your audience is located, where your ideal audience is. If you already have a really large audience, then you want to try to target your schedule in a way that's going to hit the most people live, okay, at the right time. But you also need to make the schedule for yourself. Are you going to start going live every Monday at noon? Are you going to go live Monday, Wednesday, Friday? Is it going to be like a day with Zenler? It's the last Friday of the month. That's a day with Zenler. That's our day with Zenler schedule. Office hours is every Wednesday. We do office hours every Wednesday, and we do one at 10 a.m. BST and one at 5 p.m. BST, because then we hit the different time zones. So we rotate them. We have every Thursday, I do the demo webinar for people that are thinking about using Zenler or thinking about upgrading from the free to the pro plan. Every Tuesday, I do an onboarding session with people who are new to the pro or premium plan of Zenler, right? Those are our schedules. We definitely have some fun pop-up schedules happening on those lives in the Facebook group. So you can also do that. But even if you're not going to schedule it to your audience so that they know when you're going to go live. Try to figure out a schedule for yourself of when are the best times for you to go live, right? Are you a morning person? Because if you're not, don't be trying to schedule lives for in the morning. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Even if if your audience is around in the morning, that's great. Like, make it the latest spot in the morning for yourself. That's the most comfortable for you. If the lawn is getting mowed on Tuesday morning, that might not be the best time to go live, right? Because the lawn, you're going to hear that noise. So start to think about that. Think about your day. My kids get home from school at like 3 o'clock. The first one gets home just after 3. And so I'm not scheduling anything for right when they get home or during dinner, right? They're in bed. So like 9, 10 p.m., I could schedule something because I know I'll have a little bit more peace and quiet to do it, right? So even if you're not going to schedule the specific lives, take the time to look at your week and your day-to-day life and figure out when tends to be the best time for you to have that peace and quiet and the right level of energy to do this live stream, whether it's a 5-minute live stream or a 1-hour live stream, right? Like, figure that out for yourself. And then as you get comfortable, you may want to start doing like a regular schedule. Like, I'm going to do this every Wednesday, or I'm going to do this every Tuesday. A benefit to that is that people will say, oh, they know every Wednesday we have office hours, so they know to check in the Facebook group. It's been going like that for a very long time now. And so people start to count on you, and they show up for you when you show up for them consistently, right? So that's a benefit to that as well. Promotion. This gets lost a lot in a lot of things. People, oh, I launched my course and nobody bought it. Well, how did you launch it? Well, I posted on Instagram about it once or twice. That is not promoting. Okay. The same thing with doing any sort of live. We promote at Zenler, we promote a day with Zenler because we schedule it in the Facebook group. So we have an event. The event being in the Facebook group helps to promote it. We list it on our website. We put them on our YouTube channel. We put it in our newsletter, right? So we're placing it in a lot of different places. We mention it on office hours when we're live. We promote this other thing that we're doing, right? And that could also go hand in hand with sort of those calls to action, right? If you're on a live video today and you know that you're going to be on a live video in 2 days from that day, your call to action could be, hey, subscribe to get notified. I'm going to be here on Friday as well. I'm going to be here on Tuesday, right? You can tell people about what's coming up and ask them to join you. That could be a call to action. And it's promotion. You're promoting this next thing that you have. But just know that promotion isn't posting one time on social media, right? Promotion is really a system that you start to build and put in place to let people know what you're doing. And the better that you get at this, the easier you make it for people to connect with you, to find out what you're doing, the easier you make it for people to show up and to buy from you. So you scatter this information about. So yeah, you probably list it, make a post on social media about it. You could even write a blog post about it. You can put it in your newsletter. You can network with other people and go on their live show or their live podcast, or not live podcast, but on their podcast or in their Facebook groups, where you can then promote other things that you have going on. It's about reaching the right amount of people. If you're doing a live video and you only get 1 or 2 people show up live, or no people show up live, and you've only promoted this by posting about it here or doing a scheduled post where it's like sitting there and you haven't shared it, you haven't been talking about it, then you don't know if this topic is right or wrong for your audience. You don't know, because not enough people have seen it and engaged with it yet. Same thing with your course or your lead magnet. If you have a lead magnet for 6 months and only 5 people download it, how many people visited the page, right? If only 10 people visited the page and 5 people downloaded it, that's 50% conversion on a lead magnet. That's pretty dang good, right? But that's still not knowing whether that's good or not, because 10 people isn't enough people to know if that actually works or not. You need 100, 500, 1,000, right? How do you promote this, and where do you promote this to get it in front of the largest number of people who would be the right people for my thing, right? So you promote it in all of the places that you can think of. You talk to people and ask them where they're promoting their things. Maybe if you have a network of people that you share a similar audience in, you can exchange a training, a little free mini training, or a Facebook interview in each other's groups. And you can promote this live that you have going on as your call to action, right? That's a way to get in front of more people and get more people to see your content. That's just one way. So there's a lot of different ways to promote, but just know it's not, I posted it on Facebook or I posted it on Instagram, right? There's way more to promoting than that. And you have to set up the right system of how to promote that. Based on, your activity online. And do you have a newsletter? Do you have a blog? So there's a lot of different ways that you can set up the system of promotion that will start to benefit you. And sometimes it takes time. It takes that consistency, and it takes growing that reach in order to promote it and have the right people show up for it. And then follow through. So you've made this whole plan, you've done all of these things, you've figured out your topic, you've figured out all of the bits. Now you have to follow through with it. You actually have to push the button and go live, right? You have to do that. And not just follow through with actually hitting the button to go live, but also after you've gone live, follow through. Go back into the comment section and like and comment on the things that people have commented on. I see people all of the time have like 4 or 5 comments on even regular content or on a live video, and they don't go back in and like and reply to the comments of people that have commented on their thing, especially on Facebook, but any platform. If people are conversing in the comments, like if someone makes a comment and you reply to them, like that's considered a conversation. That's good stuff to them, right? They want that on their platform, because the longer people are chatting back and forth, the longer they're on their platform, right? Everybody loves that. The algorithms love that. Always follow through. Always go in, follow through with that, follow through with your follow-up, right? Do those things. So let's just have a quick review, go all the way back up here. So mindset, have your head right. Don't get overwhelmed with the tech bits or being perfect or having the right editing. Just do the thing, just do it. Your topics, you can find them on Facebook. You can find them on Answer the Public, Google Trends. What are people talking about in your industry or your niche? You know, what kind of format? Is it going to be a list? Is it going to be myths? Is it going to be top 10? Are you going to go, what's your duration? 5 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour? Give yourself time to prepare a bit of an outline of your content to help you structure it properly and to help you deliver it. Give yourself a description so that you can share that description easily on social media and talk about it easily if you're prepared ahead of time. Make sure you know how you're going to welcome people onto the live. Make sure you know if it's appropriate to introduce yourself or not introduce yourself. Make sure you always know what that call to action is. Make sure you know in your house, where's the best spot for me to go live from in my home or outside in my yard? Where is that going to be? Am I going to do Facebook, YouTube, Instagram? What platform? Am I just going to stream live in my Zoom session? What schedule? What days are best for me? How am I doing this? Where am I going to promote this? How often am I going to promote this? And I am going to follow through, right? You're going to follow through. So I think that is it, David, on this presentation. Let's see, I can stop sharing.
Fabulous. Oh, that's a really good one. Actually, it follows in lovely with everything we've covered so far. So that is really great. And that prep sheet or that checklist sheet is what you should be doing all the time. So eventually it will become that you actually end up doing it anyway. You'll know what to do. You just follow those steps. And, you know, as we've already talked, like having bullet points and actually going through things is the easiest way to kind of remember and repeat these things. So that was a fabulous one, Alice. That's for sure. That was great. That'll help a lot of people, which is good. I think we've got some, Andrew's put on there. Spot on, Alice. Andrew's up in a second.
Okay.
And we have, in the right level of energy. Well said, Alice. Good social advice. It's mostly the time when there's a random lawnmower, so you've got to watch the lawnmower internet connections and those sort of things.
It's happened to me all the time, or dog barking or a cat jumping in your camera. I mean, there are some things that you cannot help, so don't stress about them. And as a matter of fact, it might just make you go viral if it did happen.
Yeah. There's, if you've got a rogue hamster that attacks you in the middle of a live, you're gonna go viral for sure.
Exactly. Like the little toddler that bursts in on dad while they're live on CNN, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like that was awesome. So don't worry about those things. Mindset. Yes.
Yeah. No animals, never have animals or children in any of your lives, because anything can happen. I mean, it's on television all the time with elephants having a poop and things like that. It's quite
yes.
It's just, and they should know better. They should know better. Right, just before we wrap up, I just want to quickly jump across, and Andrew's going to be on in a second, but I just want to jump across just to tell you, because Alice has already mentioned it, and this is the virtual impact summit that we've got. So guys, if you haven't registered, register for this, happening on the 11th of October 2022. So you've got a bit of time. Alice, we haven't heavily promoted this yet. We're just showing it in the group to get you guys in first, so you get first dibs, any seats that are available inside there. Alice is going to do some more promotions nearer the time. We're starting to soft launch the promotions now, but she's going to up it. But you can find it here. I'll put that link into the Facebook group. Is there anything you want to say about that, Alice?
Just that I'm really excited about it. We have some amazing speakers lined up for the summit, so you're going to love them. As a matter of fact, this week or this weekend and early next week, I'll be updating that registration page to include some information about our fabulous speakers that we're going to have there. So that page is going to start to get updated more and more with more information about the speakers and the different things that are going to be happening. And remember, the summit You're watching Today's a Day with Zenler with all these different pieces around live video or live presentations and all of that, the technology. The summit is going to be live. A lot of summits that people run online are pre-recorded, and so they're running a video for you. Our summit is going to run live. All of our speakers are going to be live. You're going to get to come in and join us live and see that presentation live and see what it looks like to operate a schedule like that. It's no small feat, I will tell you that. There's a lot of preparation that goes into doing a whole live event. It's a lot more work than like a one-off, hey, I'm live today, right? I mean, just David, he has a habit of doing a day with Zenler. And so he's prepared this all the time. And so it gets a little bit easier, a little, not maybe easier, but faster, because he could do it more quickly because there's muscle memory involved, right? But with the summit, it's a much bigger undertaking and a lot of different trainings. And when I tell you that the speakers' live sessions, there are one end of the spectrum to the other when it comes to live. There's people talking about technology. There's people talking about different ways to present your information, planning ahead of time, confidence. There's people talking about using live video for podcasting and you know, webinars and teaching live classes. And I mean, it's so many different things. People coming on talking about events that they've run, live events. So lots and lots of variety in a live summit.
Yeah, and also just to sort of pick up on Alice's point there, it's also that this is a proper running summit. Now, you could say that Day with Zenler is a mini summit. You know, we have guest speakers coming there, but it's not the same thing because we're just streaming in there. There's no kind of registration. You just see all this stuff live. We don't do any promotion apart from in our group. We don't tell it to other people. So one of the biggest parts about obviously a summit is actually getting the people in, the right people, planning it all, making sure the right documents are there so that everything works well. And of course, a massive thing, which is the promotion behind it as well. So all these things add up to it being a summit. Now, what is a good thing about this is that once we've run it, we already have a challenge that we set up that me and Alice have worked on, and we're going to be launching that after to show you what we did when we did this. So that'll be really interesting for you because you actually see, well, that's a summit that they run and that's how they did it. So it'll be really good for you to see that. So I'm super excited about that. So Alice will be hosting that as she's running the summit herself. And I'll be backing her up with the technical bits as far as putting the thing together, which is my bag, you know?
Yes, that's David. And that's it. Like, lean into your special sauce, whatever that is. And like, I have certain expertise, David has certain expertise, and we work so amazing together because of that. And so, yeah, that's going to be another amazing thing about the summit is the follow-up afterwards to help you, because we do get a lot of questions, David, about summits, don't we?
All the time. You know, it's all, oh, how did you do this? How did you do that? You know, even when we run challenges, it's like, oh, how was that done? How did that, was that done in Zenler? Everything we do is in Zenler. So that's one thing you never have to ask us. We do it all inside Zenler.
Exactly.
Because, and, you know, if there's a need for something, then we'll talk to Rakesh and they'll probably implement it so that we can use it. So fabulous, Alice. That is brilliant. I'm going to get Andrew on because Andrew was going to do an hour, but he can only do half an hour because of work commitment. So he's going to be rattling through his stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, so, have fun, Andrew.
I'll just get him to come in. Brilliant. Thank you, Alice.
Thank you, David. Have a fabulous rest of your day with Zenler. It's been great, y'all.
I will. Fabulous. I can see Andrew's popped up.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Andrew. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, there you are. You've got a nice backdrop.
Yeah, I know. I love that. I'm flying off so you can get right to your business, Andrew. Great to see you. I look forward to seeing what you've got for us today.
Great to see you as well, Alice. Thanks so much. Yes, I'm here in sunny Florida, hence the shirt backdrop. So, I had, it's a mixture of personal and work travel. I have a bunch of work meetings next week. I'm actually going to see the Artemis 1 launch up at Cape Canaveral, Cape Kennedy there, which is
Wow.
epic. Yes, my day job is in aerospace and defense, so it is work related. But I came a few days early to visit my father who lives down here in Fort Lauderdale. So, I went from one set of palm trees in California to another here in Florida. So it's a
Oh,
little
brilliant.
bit more humid.
Yeah, no, because Andrew actually invited me. He was actually in Brighton, and they had a Fatboy Slim concert, which he went to. He actually invited me to go, but I don't think he realised just how far away I am from Brighton. It's like
Yeah, yeah. It's when you're living in California so long, everything, a 3 hour drive seems like nothing because it could take you that long to get across LA.
Oh,
So
see, we're not used to that. Like I got 4 hours to London. It's too long. It's too long.
yeah,
I
but
know you got half an hour, so I'm going to let you talk about it. And this is a massive, massive subject. This is audio, and as Andrew rightly said, and he's brought it up in some of the posts before. He's helped a lot of people out in the posts with answering questions. He's brilliant like that, Andrew. You're great. But audio, it's the single most important thing. If you've got the best camera in the world, but the audio is rubbish and crackly, you're not going to get people in it. But if you've got a rubbish audio, but rubbish backdrop, or even if you're not showing your face at all, if the audio is clear, people will listen and hang on to it. So this is another thing that's come up in the group a lot of times. What mic do I buy? What lavalier do I buy? What's the difference with all these things? So I know it's a very complex subject, but Andrew's going to try to make it easy for people to understand at different levels, if you can.
that's the hope. That's the hope. So I'll do my best in 28 minutes. So
Right, 28 minutes. I'm going to leave you to it. I'll jump
all
in.
right. Thanks so much, David.
Cheers.
So yeah, thanks again for having me, everybody. Happy to be here. Unfortunately, like I mentioned, I'm on the opposite coast, so we're not in my studio. And of course, my friend here, the bird, my dad's bird behind me, just chimed in to make a highlight from what Alice's one of her final points was, which was making sure your environment is suitable, especially when you're live. So that was not planned. I wish I could say I paid the bird to do that, but yeah, unfortunately we can't be in my studio to have all my toys. But again, like David said, I'm trying to help simplify and accelerate your knowledge base when it comes to audio for your streams. I know not everybody's probably the most technically adept. Audio engineering is my specialty, so that's the world I live in. But I'm going to give you a few simple tips and pieces of knowledge that will hopefully help you in your journey on Zenler and beyond. So a few things that I'd like to mention, kind of piggybacking off what Alice was saying. Environment is really one of the keys to this whole thing. So as I was getting ready for this live, like I mentioned, I'm not in my usual environment, so I have to adapt and think about ways to control the space that I'm in. So, my father likes to run the TV loud, so I kept him in the opposite side of his condo, shut the door over there, shut the doors behind me, right, to create as isolated a space as I can, improvising with what I have. If you're in, a big, great room with vaulted ceilings in your house, it can be really echoey, as the colloquial term might be. We call that reverberant in the audio world. But where it sounds like you're in this chamber, that's not really ideal, right? It's going to sound like you're distant. It's going to sound maybe unclear on certain things that you might be saying. Similarly, if you're using an external microphone that's not built into your laptop or your computer and it's far away from you, that can also be a detraction from what you're trying to say. And again, just to elaborate a bit on what David was saying, why is audio the most important part? Well, who here watches YouTube videos without watching them, right? I pay for YouTube Premium, not just to skip ads, but sometimes if I'm in the car or I'm doing something else, I want to be able to uh, shut my phone down, or put it to sleep and still listen to what's going on, because I can still receive the message and still get that content even though I'm not watching who's on screen, right? Audio is key. If you ever watch a movie, like especially like, let's say, an action movie or something suspenseful, try watching it on mute, right? And just with the subtitles, you may get the storyline, but all the suspense, all the emotion you lose from not hearing the audio, not hearing the background music, the sound effects, all those things. So audio is really, really key. And like David said, if I was like, you're not getting my whole message, right? Similarly, if the quality, you don't have to have a recording studio, you don't have to have sound absorption unless you absolutely need it, or like some crazy booth to be able to record in or do your live in, but you do need to be aware of these few things. So a couple tips as far as the environment goes: if you do have a really reverberant space, you don't, like I mentioned, you don't have to spend money on acoustical treatment or anything like that. You could just get some dense materials in your space. So maybe pull in a heavy couch or something, or you could even, if it's off camera, like if you don't have a virtual background or anything like that, green screen, and you want it to be out of view, let's say you just want a plain white wall or something behind you, you can put things out of frame, like even a mattress or something to absorb some of the sound of your voice bouncing off the walls. So that's just some little trick to keep in mind. The heavier the material, the more sound it's going to absorb, which will make the room sound more dead. That's the very basic principle of the acoustical environment that you're in, right? So we got the space, right? Now we're in a good space. Okay, let's talk about the technology, which is the first part people tend to jump to. They forget about the physical space. But the technology, again, you don't have to have, just like with cameras, as David and Alice were talking, you don't have to have the latest, greatest, most expensive gear. You can get away with oftentimes what's built in depending on your hardware. Right now, I'm talking to you through this MacBook Pro microphone. Now, I know not everybody's got the latest M1 Max MacBook Pro, but if you do happen to have one, the mic that they have in here is fantastic. I've literally heard musicians make a recording of vocals or even acoustic guitar or something just using the microphone built into this laptop. I know they put a lot of research and development behind it. It's fantastic. Now, I'm going to give you some examples of different microphones that I was able to have on me, just so you can kind of get a taste of how your experience changes as a listener, just by having different microphones. So you can see I'm wearing these AirPods Max headphones, which sound great as a listener, and they do have a microphone built in for, like, let's say you're talking on your phone or doing a conference call or something. Not the greatest thing when it comes to being able to broadcast like we're doing today, but I'll let you be the judge. Okay. Now I'm talking to you through the AirPods Max. Did you hear the difference? I'm hoping you can, because I can't hear you or see you, but hopefully that's the case. All right. And now it may sound a little bit more distant, I would think. David, maybe you can give me some feedback.
Yeah, it's got a little bit more sort of tinniness to it. It's a bit more, it's not as damped down.
Yeah, and that's for a few different reasons. One, because it's a tiny little mic built into these headphones, for one. The second reason is because it's wireless. So there's also, you're going to introduce at least a subtle bit of latency. There's latency with everything, but now my voice may not quite match up as well with the video, because my voice is having to go into the headphones, beam itself magically to the computer, go through a bunch of stuff to you. So this is not the ideal source. So what you want to do is, if you have multiple sources, if you have the wired Apple headphones that used to come with the phone, the little mic on there is actually pretty good. But and I have seen people just like hold that, not the greatest image again, but if that's the best mic that you have, use it, because audio trumps video, right? So sorry for all the videographers out there, but it's true. So now if I switch to another source. Okay, how does this one sound, David?
Oh, it's very low. You can hardly hear it.
Great, because that was on purpose. That was to teach people. How about now?
It's better, but it sounds like it just sounds further away.
It was further away. How about now? How about now? Is this good?
It's not bad. It's not bad.
Not too bad. Okay. Yeah. This was just to give you another flavor. So I started with this microphone. This is an external USB microphone. They don't produce it anymore. Sorry, my virtual background doesn't pick it up as human. So this is, sorry, now I'm pointing it at the screen, so it's not going to pick up my voice. Let me go ahead and switch here so I can talk about this for a minute. There we go. Now when I move it around, you won't get the changing of my voice. This is just the most portable little external USB mic I could fit in my luggage there. But this is just any example. There's tons of USB mics available today. The most popular brand is from a company called Blue, which, if you're interested, is owned now by Logitech, which everybody I think knows. Those, you'll see them if you watch any game streamers. They're the big bulbous round metal microphones. There you go. That's exactly the same one I do have at home. I just couldn't fit it in my bag. Those are fantastic. But what you have to remember, just like you saw a second ago in the example, was now this mic can be moved around the room. So if I have it on a stand far away from me, right, now I need more level to be able to pick it up. But if I do that, now I may be picking up more of the environment around me. So, you know, the gain stage, as we call it, the gain is the level of volume, you know, the microphone is going to pick up. That's important to consider. There you go. David has one in frame there. And let me see if you can get that in focus. That would actually be great to show. There we go. Okay, so perfect. Thanks, David, for being my hand model, my Vanna White, for those in America that know Wheel of Fortune. So you can see the gain knob at the top, right? That's going to control the level of the microphone, how much it's going to pick up of your voice and the environment around you, really anything in its range. The setting below, it's a little bit more advanced for those of you that may be interested. That's the pattern of the microphone. So you can see the shapes. It's, once you understand this, the shape reflects what area it's picking up around the microphone. So the setting David has it on is really right up in front where his face is right now. The setting to the left, you can see it's a big circle. It's going to pick up everything around, 360 degrees around the microphone. There's also the one to the extreme left is stereo, which most of you won't have to worry about. And the one to the extreme right is a really hyper focused, like on either side. So if you were doing, let's say, like a radio interview or something, in the same room, and you only had the one microphone, you could stick that between the two of you, sit opposite from each other, and get a good sound from each of you, as if you had two mics. So this mic that I was showing has a gain knob as well. It's a little wheel on the side. So I had that kind of midway and distant from me, so you could see how, before I turned it up, it was a bit low, and it was further away, it was low as well. I brought it closer, it gets not only louder, but more hyper focused on my voice. So that's just something you want to keep in mind if you do delve into the world of external USB microphones. If you're using the microphone that's built into your laptop, for instance, you're kind of stuck with where it's at, right? You can't move that around. Similarly, if you, that's something to keep in mind, because a lot of folks that are using internal microphones forget about the location of the mic. So they may be like, on their desk, ruffling papers, and I apologize, I should have told you in advance I was going to do that, but causing a ruckus, and they can't hear it because they might be wearing headphones like I am, but they don't realize their audience is getting all of this, commotion into their ears, especially when you're live and you may not be able to hear what's going out to the audience. If you're doing the video offline, of course, you should be watching it afterwards, because hopefully you're editing it, putting even if you don't chop it up, if you're just bookending it with like an intro title and a closing or something on iMovie, watch your whole video through, right? Make sure that you don't have any incidents on the take. So it's not just, again, about the visual, it's predominantly about the audio. I think we could do a follow-up, because I don't really have a lot of time today, and I did want to keep this basic, but just to kind of give you a teaser, there are a few little tools that we could go over at a future date that could help you to correct those. Let's say you have a extremely long, video that you shot for a course, and there's just one little area that, there was some audio anomaly, and you're like, darn it, I don't want to go reshoot the whole thing. That was a perfect take for whatever reason. There are some ways to mask that, get rid of it, or at least make it better. Things like pops and clicks. So if you are using a microphone that's external, and you get what we call plosives, which is like the p sound from a p, or it's really high end, high pitch, like the s's are like in your ear like an ice pick. There are ways to correct that, to give your audio experience, better, make it better for the listener. One thing on that note, if you are using an external microphone and it's not in frame, well, I mean, I guess you could do it if it's in frame too, if that's your vibe. You can get what's called a pop filter and put that over it. If it doesn't already have like a built-in windscreen. Some microphones, like those big black radio ones that you see, will have that foam over the microphone, or in this case, this one has this metal grill, but actually inside, behind that grill, is a bit of foam as well. That helps to deaden those already, but it never hurts to have another mechanism. Again, that you're trying to capture the best audio you can right out the gate. Especially, you just like with video and everything, if you're doing this offline for your course, you can go later on and try to manipulate things or fix things, but you want to keep that to a minimum, right? You want to start with as good a quality signal as you can, because let's say your microphone audio, your voice was way too low. Sure, you could go back into your video editor and turn up the audio, but now, just like I said with the microphone volume, the gain on the side of it, Now you're going to be turning up all the sound that picked up. So whereas you may have not have heard the little ionizer in the side of your room, or the fan from your computer, or maybe that lawnmower that was outside that Alice mentioned, if you start turning all that up, all of those sounds are going to get louder. And there are ways that I won't get into that you can try to suppress those as well. But again, just starting as clean an environment as you can sonically, right, of what you can hear, the better. There's another option I wanted to show you. I don't have this one plugged in because I don't have a way to get the signal in, but this is called a lavalier microphone. This one happens to be stereo, so it actually has two mics into it. But a lot of them are just a regular single one, and they'll usually look like that. And they'll have one point where the audio is coming in, the sound is coming into the microphone. So these will, clip onto your shirt, your collar, or, if you wanted to like mount it somewhere, you could do that, but they're really meant for close proximity to you. So if I was to, let's say, tape this next to my camera here on the laptop, then it's not going to pick up very good sound. It's going to be really low. And even if I go into Zoom or whatever my software, or on my actual interface that I would connect this to, and turn up that gain, it's going to sound noisier. There'll be a lot of more hiss on the background, and plus, again, the environment I'm going to hear more of. One important. Oh, go ahead.
Is there with the lavaliers? I can see that's a wired in one. Is there what about the wireless ones?
Yes. So I mentioned a little bit of latency for the headphones, right? A dedicated wireless mic, like there's a company called Rode, RODE, that you guys may have seen. You probably have seen if you've watched any YouTube videos or things like that. That company is a microphone company, so those are dedicated to wireless audio, for in the case of their wireless versions. So those are meant to have a lot lower latency, right? It's not just a more consumer thing like what's built into these headphones or the little earbud versions. Those are great to have. It's again kind of like a next step up technologically, more stuff to manage, more things to go wrong than, let's say, your built-in laptop microphone. But if, let's say, you're doing something live in the field, or you're in a room and it's you and somebody else talking, and you've got a camera somewhere else, you don't want to use that camera microphone because it's too far away. A wireless microphone like the little Rhodes, they have ones that'll clip on as well. They look like a little square of chocolate and they'll just clip on. Maybe not the best looking in a video, but again, how many videos have we seen with those in them? We don't really care. People are used to it. They just want the content, and the content is coming from your mouth. So that's if they can't hear it, they're just going to tune into something else, or they're going to ask you for a refund, or they're not going to buy your course or come back for more, right? Whatever the case may be, whatever platform you're on. But if they can hear you well, they're getting the message. They can forgive if you've got this giant chiclet on your shirt, or if the toddler comes in the room, or whatever the case may be, right? They can forgive a lot when it comes to video. Or I was looking for a way to do a grainy effect on here. Let's say it's like 1980s VHS or something, with static and lines. As long as they can hear you clearly and your content, your message is good, they're going to come back. That's why you see a lot of folks starting, which I'm sure David or Alice might have mentioned either earlier or in previous sessions. You can start with just your smartphone, because most microphones in your smartphone are actually really, really good, because they're voice communication tool primarily. That's another thing you could do, actually, speaking of smartphones, is in your, let's say if you're using iOS, right, the voice memos app, if you have a camera that's further away, right, and maybe also doesn't have as good a microphone, right, you don't want to pick up all the room noise, you could use like an app like voice memos, or I don't know what's on Android because I never use those, uh, but you could just any voice audio recorder and keep that, near you, or you could put it in front of you, with the mic pointing at you, and record your audio separately, right, from your video, and stitch it together later. A little more advanced, but again, the point of that is you want to get the best sound of your voice possible. So that's just something to consider if you're like, no, I really need this wide shot of whatever my space because I'm, I don't know, doing math equations on a chalkboard or something. I don't know.
Yeah, there's
So
all
anybody
these
use-
there's all these little hacks that that you can do, and people
Yeah.
think, oh no, when you're doing a video, the sound's got to be with it, but it can be on a completely separate device and then synced together,
100%.
really
Yeah.
easily. But it's like, Andrew's mentioning all these things, hasn't got a lot of time, so he's just speeding through them. We've got to have him back, or we have to, because there's a lot more stuff. There's questions coming into the group as well. I know that people are talking about some of the sound software that you can use that's built into things. This is a huge subject.
It is, because it is so critical to the success of your content. Last thing I wanted to mention before I got a few minutes to take a few questions, but with the lav mics, so whether it's like a wired one like this or the little chiclet clip-on one from Rode, anytime you're clipping something to your shirt or collar or whatever, just like I mentioned with the built-in laptop mic, always be aware that that's there, because you even see it on like national broadcast shows, right? Like huge shows, like, talk shows or whatever, people like hug and whatnot, and it rustles around. So just be aware, if I've got this, let's say, clipped here onto my collar, and unfortunately, like I said, you can't hear it, but it's probably better for your ears anyway that you don't. If I'm like over here futzing with my shirt, or like, it's really high and it keeps rubbing on my neck every time I turn my head, not going to be a good audio experience. So you may have had good intentions, like, oh, I'm going to get this clip-on microphone and get really great audio. Well, again, if what's going into it is garbage, what's going to be recorded or broadcast live is going to be even worse. So just something to think about with those. So I'll take a few questions. I got maybe about 5 minutes.
Yeah, and don't jump into the sea or something with those things on.
Yes, it's easy to forget. You have it.
It could easily, happen. So we have some questions in. I know Amit's he's around, and he's saying, I'd like to know if there's any benefit of having an audio interface like a Focusrite Scarlett 212 versus just directly connecting a USB mic to your computer, such as a Shure MV51.
Yeah.
So he's going through an amplifier, I guess, of some sort.
Yeah, fantastic question. And that's one of the first ones that a lot of people ask when they're trying to step beyond their built-in laptop microphone, right? Is, okay, I want to upgrade myself. Which route do I go? It's really kind of dependent on you. That everything's so good these days, you really can't go wrong, but there are things to keep in mind. With the USB microphones, like the one David showed you, or like this older one I have here, there's a little bit less complication to it, because that microphone actually has an interface built in. You just can't see it because it's part of the mic. So you kind of got a whole system in one with one cable, right, to your computer. So it's doing all that connection for you. All you got to worry about is where it's located and the gain knob, right? It's pretty simple. So if you want simplicity, I'd say go with that Shure MV USB mic is a great choice. You know, a lot of YouTubers, podcasters, and the like, course creators use those. And Shure is a great microphone company. I have in my studio back home lots of Shure microphones. So they definitely know what they're doing when it comes to microphones. The audio interface, that gives you a bit more flexibility. So if you're, let's say, like me, like a musician, and you want to be able to also bring in other audio sources, or even if you're not a musician, you just have other things that you want to bring into that you might be demoing live on camera, and you want to feed not just your voice through a microphone, but other sources as well. You may need multiple inputs, so that's a benefit of an audio interface. The other benefit is just types of connections. So like I mentioned, right, this wired lav mic, it's going to require to be amplified, right? I can't just, even though this is the same size as a headphone jack, I can't just plug this into my laptop and go to town. I need a certain type of input for this, and I need the ability to turn it up. So this would require an audio interface, this microphone. So that it really just depends on you and how complex do you want your setup to be, because if you're not used to it, it's more to manage, which means more things to go wrong. And especially live, you don't have you know, much room for error, right? So if your audio is not going out, people and you're futzing with something, and people are expecting to hear from you, and you're not there within, I'd say, even like 10 seconds, maybe 30 seconds tops, a minute tops, they might just tune out and not come back. So especially live, minimize room for error. So you know, keep it simple, with another S, as we used to say in the Marines. So do we have another question?
Well, I have one. I'm wondering,
Sure.
Is it possible for you to post, like, because there's so many different types of, I'm focusing a little bit on lavaliers because it's the one thing that confuses people. You know, you got a wireless system, you got a wired system, but you look at the prices of some of those, and the variation is huge. And you can get them from £32, you can get them up to £2,000, depending on what you're going for. And that's what throws people. They'll go for the cheap one, and you know, maybe that's good enough. I don't know. If you go for quality ones, then obviously it's going to be better. But what's your opinion on a cost-effective lavalier system?
That's a great question. So because of inflation, things may have changed a little bit.
Oh yeah.
But I, you know, generally like the blue Yeti that you showed, right? And that's Yeti like Sasquatch, if you guys are wondering, blue like the color. So it's that's about $130 USB microphone. That's, I'd say, the sweet spot for, like, you know, price to value and quality ratio, right? So I'd say if you start going under $100 US, right, you know, like sub 80, don't even bother. Just I bet your built-in laptop microphone is going to be better, or the microphone on your smartphone if you need to record further away from your camera. So anything, once you start going past like $250, you know, you should know more of what you're doing before you go and spend that kind of money. And even in the professional world, like you know, I have some really expensive microphones, but they're for specialized uses. Same with headphones. People will be like, you can buy a headphone for $1,000 or $100. Are you going to notice that much of an increase in quality, you know, after a certain point? Probably not. Is your audience going to notice that, you know, if you used a $10,000 microphone or you know, a $150 microphone? Probably not, right? Especially if, you know, your course is not on like audio or music production or somebody in that niche. If you're just teaching yoga or I don't know, whatever you guys are teaching, math or something, life coach, something like that, nobody's really gonna care about the your audio. They're not going to hear the difference. They're not going to be able to discern.
Yeah, as long as it's clear. But if you are obviously any kind of music, or you're doing that through it, then I guess if you're doing that, you're going to have the right equipment anyway. You're going to know what you're buying.
Exactly.
But it's just it's like there's a lot of people. There's a lot of dog trainers that are on our site. We've got lots of them, and obviously probably yoga as well, and these sort of things. And they want the way to be able to travel with talking as well. So they're doing their exercises, or they're teaching their dog, and they're running around, and they want to be able to do that on the go, to talk and have the camera distance, just like you were saying.
Yeah, those Rode clip-ons are perfect for that. Again, just the only thing to be aware of is that it's attached to you, so be careful of hitting things. Sometimes you can't avoid it, right? If you're doing some crazy yoga pose, or your dog jumps on you or whatever. But
or you can get someone to have a big microphone boom and run around with you, can't you?
Yeah, then you got to have a bigger production budget for that.
You were talking about the pop filters. I remember when I got a microphone. It was a Marantz. It was really good actually, and it was just picking up too many of the so I just put a sock over it. Absolutely fine.
Yeah, you'd be surprised, even in Hollywood productions, how the simplest, cheapest solutions are being implemented because they work, right? You don't need to go to town. If you got nylons, I don't know if women wear those anymore. I've made many pop filters out of those because that's essentially what it is. So that's another option. Apologize, but I do have to run. But thank you so much, David, for inviting me. Happy to be, here with you and Alice and all the amazing instructors here. So
you're going to come back, Andrew.
Love it.
Right, you got to come back. That's it. You've heard him. I'm going to let you go. See you later,
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
See you later, mate.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. There we go. So we had a bit of a whistle-stop tour there through the things. Now, obviously, audio is a massive subject. And I know that Alice has put in there as well, enjoy Cape Canaveral, to Andrew. And we've got some other questions in here. Let me have a look, because I think Alice posted one. Yeah, so I can't find it now. But anyway, Andrew, brilliant, really good job. Going into that detail. He's not in his studio, so next time we get him on, he'll be in his studio, so he can actually go through things. I'd like him to talk a little bit more about things like the software that you can use and the tools within the software that you can use as well. And maybe I can back him up on that, because I use like Camtasia, it's got some built-in tools, but I also use lots of other tools. So you can do things like compressors, you can do things like limiters and noise gates to get rid of some of that background sound. He was going to talk about it. You could see he wanted to talk about it, but he didn't have the time to talk about those elements on how you can set a baseline for limiting the sound to come through. And that way you can eliminate things like your fan noise of your computer and all these sort of things. And even typing on a keyboard can be eliminated out by setting a particular sound before your sound cuts in and then cuts out the higher end. So you cut out like real pops and those sort of things by limiting the range being that high, but limiting it there. So you get the proper signal going through, and it cuts out the low level and high level noise. Obviously, I'm going to let Andrew talk about it because, he's the expert. I just picked this stuff up over the years because I've been doing this stuff for years. And also like, doing video editing and stuff like that, which is what I do. I come from like more the video side, but I think the harmony or the sweet spot is getting your video to look good and your sound to look good. And I think when you're using both and you're both doing a really good job, that's why I'm always pushing to improve the quality of everything I do. You might have noticed the camera quality is now a lot better than it was before, with things like me being able to go in and focus on my hand and focus back off me really quickly and smoothly. These are things that we invest in to make our productions even better. So moving up gears from things like the for the webcam Logitech 920, then move into Logitech Brio, and then onto more sophisticated DSLR cameras, which means you can change the lenses, open the aperture more, which lets more light in. So it means that you can have a low level light setting, but it still be nice and bright. And of course, using, I think Kirsty was mentioning about using ring lights. I still like a ring light. I think they look really good, but I don't just use a ring light. I also use 2 side lights, and the window, as you might have noticed on my older videos, I had a real lot of light coming in this side of my face. So what I've had to do is completely control the lighting exactly the same way. And everything you do for video is exactly the same that you do for sound. So as Andrew said there, he was putting drapes up. You can put soundproofing up, of course. It's high density. It's got a lot of surface area, so it absorbs the sound. And of course, drapes, carpets, even green screen cut that sound down so it doesn't bounce like a bathroom and sound like really echoey. The same thing for video. You know, you need to control the light situation. So if you've got 0 light in a room and you've only got the lights you set up, you're controlling that situation. So what happens there? You can set the lighting perfectly for your scene. And 2, you can be consistent every time you shoot your videos. So going forwards, my videos will be a lot more consistent lighting wise, because I've set those things. And because I'm using a DSLR camera, I can set things like the white balance, and I can lock off things like the auto focus and these sort of things. And of course, I can lower or increase the aperture or the ISO of the camera, which lets more light in. And also, but if a higher ISO is used, then the actual look can appear grainy. So there's all these little things. Now, if I'm telling you this stuff now and you're going, oh God, that's confusing. All you need to do is start with a webcam. And as soon as you've mastered that and you want to get better with these things, then you build your knowledge up. And I think that's exactly what Andrew was saying to you, to build this information up going forwards. So that's my take on it. So what I want to do now is I want to quickly show Andrew's website, because I said I'd do it and he's jumped off before I got a chance to actually show it. So like I do with everybody that comes on, I like to show their website. So this is a website that Andrew has done, also all inside Zenler. I'm going to put it into the chat. You can go in here, have a look around. He's still working on things, but you can meet and see a little bit about what Andrew does as one side of his life, because he's busy doing lots of different things. So this is his website here, and I'll put that into the chat for you guys to have a look at. And there it is. And I'm going to jump now to our education area. So I've got about 15 minutes to quickly just show you around the education. I know you're like, I thought I'd get away with it this week and not show you any of our education, because you're like, I've seen it all before. But remember, we've got new people in the site all the time, and they don't know where these resources are. So we have to show it. So we show it in office hours, and I like to show it inside here as well. And I like to point out new things that are going on the platform. So I'm going to jump across straight into our first one, which is our tutorial site. And inside here, I'm going to stop my video so my face doesn't appear. Inside here, you can see we've got our educational hub. So this is tutorials.newzenler.com. Now inside here, and a lot of you might not know about it, even people that watch this, is under here, down right at the bottom of the page. Once you log in, you're going to have these areas here. There's lots of content in here. Definitely look around. Like, people ask for new features in the Facebook group. If you go into resources, you're going to find in there, it gives you new feature requests, which goes to the correct place in our Facebook group. We've also got things like submit your site to things like our showcase site, report bugs and problems, the Zenler changelog that's updated with all the latest updates. We have our status page, which shows if any of our services are down. We have a comparison against all our paid plans, and we have a competitor matrix as well. Again, it compares what Zenler's like against Podia, Kajabi, Thinkific, and Teachable. So you can see how we compare with our price plans against them. So I think you'll be amazed looking at that. So at the top, if we go back to our main area here, you're going to see that any live challenges, and this is an area I wanted to jump into, live challenges and boot camps. These are ones that are held by Kevin, Alice, Liz, Mamit, sometimes me. We hold challenges in here, and there's a few going on. Mamit's got one running at the moment, which is a really cool one. She did the free lead. Some of these are not, they've already taken place, but you can still join them and watch all the replays in here. And we have here a new one that's coming up from Liz, and this is the 5-day mindset bootcamp. So you can pre-register for this now. If you jump into it, you can pre-register and you can go and actually see that. And when it's launched live, an email will go out to you and you can join it. And I think that's happening. It's ending on the 23rd of September. So the whole of that week before, they're going to be running that. It's hosted by Kevin, and tutoring you will be Liz, our mindset expert. So also in our on-demand area inside here, we have all our training. So if you are brand new to Zenler, please make sure that you do the quick start guide. Shouldn't take you more than a kind of maybe 4 hours to do that. And you can go through, and you can also take the basic setup checklist, which is just a PDF that you can sign off. And the complete guide to Zenler is the next place you'll go, that you can just cherry pick items you're interested in. Like maybe you want to learn funnels inside out. So you could just jump in there and learn how to use funnels inside Zenler. So it's really comprehensive. Underneath that, we have all our other courses that we give to you free of charge. Everything we do is free of charge from us at Zenler. And we have things like helping you with your branding and design. So giving you advice on where to go and actually design stuff yourself. We're trying to eliminate you having to employ anyone else. The Zenler system, once you understand the basics, takes 3 or 4 hours, you should be in a situation where you don't need any help from anyone else. Of course, I know some of you guys are really busy and you need to have people, course creators, help you, people on the platform. If you are looking for anyone to help you, just post that inside the Facebook group and you'll have all our course creators and our VAs just contact you in there. Little word of advice: if you do pick a VA or one of our course creators or designers or branders, if you do pick them, pick 3. Have a Zoom meeting with all 3 and see which ones that you actually chime with, because it's really important. Okay, definitely if they've not done a good job for you, or you've got issues or anything like that, make sure that you are telling us at Zenler, because we don't like that. We don't have that. That's kind of never happened, but there's always a chance that it could happen where somebody feels scammed or something. So just make sure we don't officially say that one course creator is better than the other. We say use our videos and you can do it all yourself. But if you're doing that, make sure you pick 3 people, actually have a Zoom meeting with them, see their past work, and then you'll make your decision on which one you want to go with. And there's some very good people on the platform, a lot of which have been on a day with Zenler. So branding and design. This is a really good course because we've actually got Ian Hamilton, who's a branding and designer, and he actually helped with this course. So he's got some sections in there giving his advice and knowledge, decades of knowledge, absolutely free of charge. Plus I'm on there as well. I've been working in branding and design again for the last 30 years. So long time. Next, we've got ethically copy a site. This is like taking something like a WordPress site and turning it into a Zenler site. This is worth looking at. We've also got one where I take a Netflix style, the Netflix style site, and we also turn that into a Zenler site as well. And Next, we have hardware and software. So this is looking, and I want to add a bit more to this. I'm actually hoping to approach Andrew to get him to do a little bit of a section on audio so I can put it into this course. All of these courses are growing, so we might add more content to them when we have time. Next, we got advanced ninja tricks. This is for coders, advanced developers. If you don't know what any of this means, when you go into the course, then just stay away from it. Simple as that. Next, we got Zenler templates. This is free templates that we're giving you. And they're things like blocks for inline forms. There's custom certificates, these sort of things. You can find those all in the Zenler template packs. I'm amazed by the amount of people, whenever I mention this, go, wow, you've got free templates in there, because they don't know about it. We've mentioned it a lot, but it shows you, like, you don't, it's so much information, it's hard to keep up with it all the time. Next, I was running Sunday live workshops every week, and you're going to find there's a lot of workshops in there on different subjects in front of a live audience. Next, we got marketing basics. Now, this was run as a challenge, and me and Alice run this, and we've turned it into an evergreen course. It's hugely popular. It will teach you all of the basics. I would even say it goes to intermediate level marketing. And if you want to know where to start and to understand marketing in general, definitely take this course. If anything, even if you decide at the end of it, I don't want to get into marketing, you'll have the information, if you watch this course, to converse with a marketer, and you'll also know what they're saying to you. So it means you have to be careful in this world when you're employing marketers, because they'll say something, but they won't actually achieve what they're telling you. With that information, you'll be armed to say, no, that's not right. Okay, so take that course, even if it arms you to approach a marketing company. Okay, that's my advice to you. Live workshop 2022, pretty much the same as this, 21. This was done in 21, this was done in 22. We got a 5-day social media optimization challenge. This is running currently. You want to jump into here, you can probably, I don't know if you can catch up. It is Friday, she finishes today. She's starting at 7 o'clock, Mammy, but you can sign up for it and watch all the replays which she's put in there. Next, we've got our Zen Zone co-working sessions. These are fabulous because you can go in there, you've got a member of the team with you, and you set one goal and you finish it by the end of the session. So get in there and do those. We got our YouTube challenge. Again, there's so much in here. You can just go through it all. We have our networking. Kevin runs a networking session. Again, this is all free, absolutely free to you. So make sure you jump into there and see all that stuff. There's a ton of stuff to look through. Just go through it and have a look and see. Next, I want to take you straight to the YouTube channel, my YouTube channel. I post so much stuff on here. It's quite a lot. So I take videos that other people are doing and I put it in there, and I put my own. There's going to be more added to this. Main thing about the YouTube channel, go to youtube.com/c/Zenler, and I will put that in the post. Go to this page here, and what you're going to see is the very top one is Zenler new feature releases. Now, this is the first place that any new features that we put into the system and upcoming features are going to be notes for admin to assign to a student. So you've got add notes to student, that's going to be coming up. We've also got cloud recording. That's going to be coming up. And I can say this because Rakesh has given me permission to. They're going to be 2 new ones. Now, if you want to know when the cloud recording comes up and these things come up, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell. If you do that, as soon as we post the video in here, you'll have a bell notification. You can go, great, I can jump in and try that new feature. So it will be in here first. Next, we have Zen pop-ups. So you guys that are regular on the Facebook group will know that we're doing Zen pop-ups, and we have a day with Zenler. So today will be going up probably in the next 2 days. Pro interviews, we got Ask Zenlers and lives. I've put these all under one playlist now. One thing I want to mention to you that's not on this homepage, just so you know, if you go into our playlist on the page, you're going to see a new one. It says Zen pop-up, the series. Now, let me just pause it. What this is this is a series of Zen pop-ups that we're doing for Natalie Mason. Now, she's an instructor that's come across from Teachable, and she's bringing her courses, the team are importing her courses into Zenler, and we're building her site and her membership from the ground up. So what I'm doing here is I'm putting in the order of the videos as they go in there. So you're going to see there's going to be another one go up because we're actually higher than lesson 4. These are in sequence. So this goes over the planning, the worksheet, the first stage builds, the initial approval, you know, the second stage build, and then it will go into finalization, and then it will go into course and membership setup, and then it will go into launch and all those things. So we are following that whole thing down there. I was going to do it as one complete video, and I thought actually do it as a playlist, then people can go through it. They can watch one per evening or something. They vary in time from an hour to 2 hours long. So it varying depending on how it's, and we normally stream these straight into the Facebook group as well, like you're watching at the moment. So last thing I want to go into is our support docs. So we have our support docs that are all being changed, and you might have noticed it looks much cooler in here now with this lovely background. And also there's going to be some slight differences. So things are going to start to be changed around in here. We're also creating a glossary. So inside there, that glossary means that you can just go through that document and you can jump to the relevant article. So there'll just be a big list instead of jumping into each of these. So that's going to be great. Also inside of these, we're going to be putting the videos in there. So things like single sign-on, there's going to be a video that drops in, as you can see there. So we're all making it so that you can read and go through the article, but you can also go through and just click on the video if you want the video as well. We're redesigning videos specifically for the support docs. These same videos are going to be going into the back end of your admin area. Yes, your admin area. So there's going to be a little eye with a little circle on most of the things like drip, for instance, and you'll be able to click on that and the video will come up. But if you want to go to the support doc, you can click a button and go to this support doc to read about it, or you can just watch the video in the site. You'll be able to close that window and move on. So this almost is like a complete guide to Zenler built into the admin. And we're taking it a stage further than any other platform by making sure that you have a support doc to go with that as well. And I want to go even further with that and make the glossary that's in here searchable as well. So you can find that information really, really quickly, whatever route you're going. You'll have access to an article and a video. So the guys are working on that. The dev team are already working on updating the support docs and all these things. It's a really exciting time for us to get the information. And we really, like the whole team, we've all got together and we said like where we want this to go. We want this to move and to be the most, we think we're already the most supported platform, but we want to make it the most easiest platform for support. And there's a difference. You can offer the support, but an easy to find. So like 1-2 clicks or like bang, bang, found the information. Our goal is to eliminate the need for any questions about the Zenler platform to be put into the Facebook group. That's our goal. That's what we strive towards. We're already doing that with the fact that we don't get a lot of the common questions that we used to get. And now support have videos they can send people directly to, but we're trying to make it even easier. So by making it easier, we're freeing our resources up, which means one thing, we can produce more videos, we can actually help you personally, and we can run more challenges. The dev team do not get swamped with questions, so it means they can work on new features. The whole thing just goes down the line and makes things more efficient for you. So that is my education. It's a little bit of a different education slot. Hopefully you like it because I wanted to explain exactly what we're doing so that you guys know. And we're going to move on now because we've got Liz coming up any second. And I'm just going to send her a quick link, direct link to this Zoom. By the way, guys, I'm going to do a little video on how I run these daily Zenlers. So I'm going to show you exactly what I'm doing, how I'm getting the actual instructors to come in when I'm asking and these sort of things. So it's going to be quite interesting for you, because it's like, you know what these are like. You might want to know how it's run, what software I'm using, how I set things up. So I'm going to do that as a Zen pop-up for you. I'm also going to do another Zen pop-up on apps as well. So there's been quite a few questions. People have got a little bit confused about how to use an app, how to use the app, and why they can't get in and see courses and things like that. So I've got my phone linked up to the computer so I can share screen and show an actual process of using the app, which I think will also help you to have that definitive guide on our channel as well. So Liz is coming in a second, and this is going to be a really nice one. This is how on hosting and engaging a live stream. So on Instagram. So it's all about Instagram. So we're very much pushing all this marketing today. I've got Liz with me now. She will pop up in a few seconds. I know we're like a minute before 5 o'clock, but she's there. Hi, Liz. Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. It's good to see you.
Don't mind me while I have a fangirl moment. I'm a big fan, David.
Oh, brilliant. That's lovely to hear. And we're fans of you as well. I mean, you're coming on a day with Zenler is brilliant. It's the first time you've been on?
Yes, it is.
Excited?
I am very excited.
This is great. So do you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself and about the topic you're going to discuss today? Just before you do that, I just want to say Liz she covers loads of things. So it was really hard to find what she was going to talk about because there's so many different things. So this is a great one. Okay, over to you.
Okay, thanks, David. So thank you so much, David, and to the Zenler team for allowing me a little bit of time today to share some ideas that I have about how to host an engaging and what I consider to be a perfect live stream. So a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about today are really geared towards an Instagram live stream, but of course the principles are going to be the same all the way around. And a couple words about me. So I'm here in Toronto, Canada, born and raised here. And I've got one son, one husband, and I just got a puppy last week. So it's getting busy nowadays. Wow. So living the best life here. Now I spent 20 years in the public service, meaning I was a government employee for 20 years, did that right shortly after graduating from university. And I was kind of running that corporate rat race that many of you might identify with. So while I was doing that Monday to Friday, on the weekends, I was actually side hustling as an event manager because that was just a passion project of mine. So I was doing that. And then around 2018 or so, I decided just to brand that as a company and just do that a little bit more professionally and formally. So what I found is that I could not get any traction to that business, despite the fact that I knew that I had a good business on my hands and I knew what I was doing with the actual work. So I didn't have the money for Facebook ads, didn't really have a lot of resources, didn't know anything about marketing. So instead, I turned in desperation to video. So I picked up my very old model of iPhone that I had and started making videos every time I went to an event. So there was truly no strategy around it. I was just showing up with my smartphone and just snapping videos and posting those just with the hopes of getting some eyeballs on my actual business. Well, fast forward, those videos started to pick up traction. And eventually, as they say, history moves in a really, really interesting way. And those videos ended up in front of people who worked at Facebook, Google, Shopify, and then fast forward 1 year, and I was standing on stages at those companies giving presentations, which is something in my wildest dreams I would not have imagined, because I'm a highly introverted person despite doing event management and creating simple videos. So those type of opportunities just completely changed my business altogether. So when I realized that video could make that much of an impact for a person like me, who spent years being a wallflower and didn't even own a DSLR or a camcorder, that's when I realized that there really is some power to getting on video and using it to build a new business. And so for that reason, in 2020, I added on a second business where I now serve as a video coach. So really my specialty is working with corporate escapees like myself who have decided to become coaches or consultants. And now, despite all of this long history of success they had back in the corporate world, they find themselves not knowing how to market themselves or get on video. So I help them with that, help them get comfortable doing that, figuring out what type of videos to make, where to post them, how to create that connection with an audience so that you have people invested in you as a coach. And then you can greatly shorten that lead time that you need to make, a successful business and start growing it. So that's kind of what I do. And I just celebrated the 1-year anniversary of leaving that government job. So this stuff works, guys. This really works. If you, put your mind towards doing something like this, then you can actually start building that life that seemed to be so out of reach for a long time. And I've done a lot of this on Zenler. My program lives on Zenler. I think I've used every feature of it. And, I've got to say a quick word here. I was so resistant to Zenler when I first started. And it's because I was overthinking the entire process. I had labeled myself as a non-tech person. And I told myself that I could only use the simplest platforms in the world. And that's when I realized I was greatly overthinking actually the concepts behind how Zenler works. And you folks have made it so simple to use if we can just put that hat on and get out of our own way. And at this point, I've run all of my courses, all of my programs, webinars, I do workshops. I hosted a massive summit back in March, fully on Zenler with all of the platforms there, all my lead magnets. So I'm a diehard fan now. So it's the perfect platform for somebody who wants to use video and actually reach your actual audience. It absolutely is the right way to go.
Yeah, so that's amazing. That story, that's really powerful. I love it that you love Zenler as well, and that you found it easy to use going in there. That's amazing, that story. So I'm going to let you do your presentation, and
Sure.
if you need me, you can just shout. I'll pop up. I'm going to be watching.
Okay, perfect. And do I have screen sharing capacity here, David?
Yeah, you should have.
Okay, so I just put out everything just as some slides so that it's easy for people to go through. So I'll just take a second and just share that screen.
Fabulous.
Okay. All right. And of course, we do everything in Canva because we're all obsessed with that program. Honestly, I always say if Canva shut down, I would have to close my entire business. Like that would be it.
that shows. That's perfect, Liz.
Okay, perfect. All right. Thank you, guys. Okay, so I'll just quickly speed through the first couple of slides because I had a bit of my own introduction here, which I've just shared with you. This is what I do now. I help corporate escapees learn how to get on video so that they can build a targeted audience for their new coaching business. So let's be clear that I'm not all about viral culture, influencer culture. That definitely has a place within social media, but it's not my specialty whatsoever. Instead, I help you to build a small targeted audience so that those people are actually interested in your business. As I mentioned, I spent 20 years in the public service, casually started putting out videos every time I went to events, eventually stood on these stages. It's purely because my videos reached the right people at the right time. Then I built a program fully on Zenler. It's a group coaching program where I help people to get on video, do their thing. And then earlier this year, I hosted this summit and we were so happy to be able to pitch Alex Beeden, who's a really influential person in the online marketing space. And she came out. We did this all through video. All of our marketing was purely through video and built fully on the Zenler system. So really, what I want to tell you is that video always equals opportunities for you. Now, live streams are the one thing that people often shy away from the longest. They are willing to put out all sorts of other videos, but they have taken this idea of live streaming and decided that it is for other people who are highly extroverted and who have a ton of video experience. And in fact, nothing could be further from the truth. And if you're a course creator or a coach or a consultant, then live streaming is absolutely the way to go. So I would consider live streams to be the best way to show people what it would be like to work with you. Now, if you are someone who sells red tablecloths for a living, then perhaps we could say that your audience doesn't really have to be invested in you as a person. They're more interested in that product. But if you are a coach or a consultant, or you provide any type of live interaction, or if you're a service provider, People need to see what it would be like to work with you in order to make that buying decision. Don't forget that none of us have unique businesses here. All of us have tons of competitors and people who do similar work. So if your audience member is out there and shopping around and trying to make a decision, do you think that they would go with someone who they have never seen on video compared to someone who is showing up regularly on video? There's a really big difference. So this is why I want you to consider that live stream is the best way to get this done, because live streams make you a familiar face to your audience. Now, I'll take a second here to use David as an example, in fact. Now, consider the fact that David comes on live here in the group, and we've seen some of his YouTube tutorials. And of course, he's built the tutorials in the educational system, in the background in the tutorial system that we use here in Zenler. Imagine he never showed his face on video. He could have absolutely just done slides, never showed his face, just done the voiceover, or he could have written out all of the instructions for how to do things. There are a million ways that he could have given us this material. But when he goes live, when he shows his face on camera, then he becomes a familiar face to every single one of us who are using this platform. So think about the bigger implication of this. Imagine you were walking down the street and you bumped into David. Do you really think that you would have to start from scratch trying to get to know him, figure out who he is, and think about how he interacts? Not at all. He has cut that lead time in half just by showing his face on camera and coming live. So you can jump right into the conversation, in fact. You already know what he sounds like. You know, you have a general sense of what his lingo is like and what his personality might be like. Think about that significant connection that you already have. So this is exactly how your audience feels. Even if they're strangers to you, you've never sat and had a cup of coffee with them, just by showing up on live streams, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or anywhere, you are going to become that familiar face. It becomes so much easier for them to invest in you and to feel like they already know you. So the quick things that I'm going to talk about today when you are getting ready to do your live stream, and actually after having done it, are to think about the content, how to prep it, how to actually go live, whether you need any editing there, and how to promote this stuff. So these are kind of the 5 core components of that. So let's jump right in. So in terms of the content, this is one of the things that often holds people back, in addition to the camera fear, which it can also be a significant problem. If you are struggling to think about what in the world can I say if I do a live stream, then there are a million different topics that you could pull out that would be very strategic for your business. However, I'm going to quickly breeze through some of the easiest that you can actually get started with, that you don't need a lot of planning or preparation for in advance, nor do you need to be very, very experienced on camera. Now, you could talk about an upcoming launch or an event you have. This is something that you know really well. You can talk about really comfortably because you're passionate about it and excited about it. So that's one content piece. You can talk about frequently asked questions, the things that people are always asking you. People always ask me some of the same type of questions. For example, what type of a mic should I buy? How should I position my smartphone if I want to make Instagram stories? There's a couple questions like that that I know people are always asking and wondering. So it is super easy to make a live stream based upon a topic like that. Or you can teach a concept in greater detail. For example, I've done live streams about how to do live streams. So that's a topic that I am teaching in greater detail because I know that my audience can make use of that material. You can do a collaboration or an interview. I have a student of mine who, when she first started working with me, she was terrified of speaking to the camera. Now, once a week on Instagram, she does a live stream where she interviews someone. So she invites them to the live stream, similar to how David and I are doing right now. And then they have a bit of an question and answer session. And then both of their audiences can see this. This is a highly valuable piece of content for your audience, and it gets more eyeballs on you, and it gets more eyeballs on that other person that you're collaborating with. This is impossible to do if you don't actually get comfortable on camera and start doing these live streams. But this is a way that you can actually grow your own business and your audience. You could also do a live stream on something that your audience typically gets stuck on. Now, one place where my audience typically gets stuck is, which platform should I actually start making videos? This is a question I get all the time. So then I could do a live stream just sharing some of my thoughts on that. So in your industry, you would have some ideas about what are the areas where your audience typically gets stuck. You could talk about a new feature or a new product in your industry. Sometimes new audio equipment or new lighting equipment comes out in my industry, so I can do a quick live stream about that. When you're doing a live stream on something like this, make sure that you are as authentic as you can be. Don't just go and give all of the details about a new product without actually giving your thoughts on it. Remember that as a coach or a consultant, people want to see what you think about things. If they really just wanted a review, they could go to Google and find that. But you are having an opportunity to really share your own thoughts about something. So take that opportunity to be open and candid about that. Or you can do a live stream talking about a resource that might be helpful for your audience. Now, I've got a free lead magnet that I think is super helpful for my audience who want to create videos in their home. So if I create a live stream around that, I can explain some of the details of that lead magnet, tell them how it would be useful to them, and let them know where they can go and grab that. So that's a really easy live stream that you can do. Now, one hot tip that I will give you when you are planning the content for your live streams is to focus on topics that promote discussion. Because the beauty of a live stream is that you are actually live, which means people have an opportunity to drop in questions. They have an opportunity to just add some commentary into the chat. It is all happening in real time. So let's make use of the fact that you are in real time and try to promote things and try to talk about things that actively allow for that discussion. This would be different from some of the video content that you might create for YouTube, on the other hand, or for tutorials that you are just posting in other places. For example, when you think about some of the video content that David creates, he has some tutorial videos. So he's not necessarily posting those as a live stream here in the group. Instead, he's taking those videos and putting them on YouTube, because YouTube is more like one-way traffic. He can put out that video, then people can watch it at their convenience and then add some comments and actually learn something and walk away from there. That's a great place for those type of videos. On the other hand, what if he wanted to share some thoughts about ways that you can use Zenler, different things coming up in the Zenler platform? The live stream is perfect for that because he can come on live. People can come into the chat and drop in comments like, wow, that's great. Wow, this is something that I've been looking for a long time. Let me know more. These are all comments and topics that promote more discussion. So try to keep that in mind. Now let's talk for a minute about how you can actually prep for the live stream, because I do think that the prep is the place where you should actually spend more of your time. Your actual live stream might only be 15 or 20 minutes, but I would say spend at least double to triple that amount of time prepping for it. This will really show in your final output. Now, the first thing, of course, to do, because you have to do the live stream somewhere, is to find a place in your home or in your office or anywhere where it's quiet, where you have good, decent lighting in front of you. All of us have been in Zoom calls and in meetings where there's always this one person who is sitting in front of their laptop with their face completely in the dark with this beautiful bay window behind them. That is a big no-no. The idea of the window or any type of natural light or a lamp that you have, anything that you can source in that room, it should be at least at a 45-degree in front of you. If it's directly in front of you, that's also okay, but make sure that you just adjust your device a little bit so that you don't have that glaring, ghostly look. And just make sure that that light source is somewhere in the room where it can actually cast a bit of a light onto your face. And of course, you want to stabilize your device and then frame yourself. When you are doing a live stream on your phone, remember the fact that the top part of that screen, as well as the bottom part of the screen might get taken up by other components that just come with that platform. So for example, if you're doing an Instagram live, the top of your screen is actually going to have the name of your account, and it might tell, something else in the corner. And similarly, the bottom might have some commentary or the title of your live stream, all of that stuff. So avoid having your head right at the top of the screen, and also avoid having anything important at the bottom of the screen. So position yourself first. That is something to really think about. I can't tell you the number of times I've watched replays of other people's live streams, and then unfortunately the top part of their head is cut off because they just didn't position themselves well, and they've only realized this after the fact. And don't forget to stabilize your device. It's super easy nowadays to get on Amazon and just purchase a really inexpensive and stable, easy to use tripod just for your phone, just a little one that you can put on your desk. That can cost something like $20 to $30 and you will use it forever. On the other hand, if you really don't have anything, you can just prop up your device against some books or take a board game, take those old board games that you're not even using, put your device on there, stack it up against some books, and then have that be nice and stabilized. The last thing that your viewer wants to watch for 15, 20, 25 minutes is a shaky device while they are trying to concentrate on the topic. Holding your device and doing a live stream, that's a big no-no. That's better for selfie style or short video content, but you need to have that stabilized if you want something more professional. Big mistake that I used to make a lot is not having a fully charged device. So check all of this. Sometimes I do a live stream around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, which means I need to make sure that all morning long, I'm not just yapping on the phone and draining the entire battery there. I need to have that nicely fully charged. If you decide to do something like a Facebook Live and you're doing it on your laptop, same principle applies. Make sure that it's charged either while you are doing the live stream, which of course is the best case scenario, or at least fully charged before the fact. Now, sometimes people ask me, Liz, should I have notes? Should I use notes when I'm doing my live streams? Because somehow it feels not so professional. So I always recommend that if you need to keep some notes handy, meaning if you are talking about a topic that you cannot just talk about off the top of your head for 15 minutes or so, then have those bullet points handy either in one of two ways. Either keep it on your device, meaning on your laptop, open up your notepad on your laptop, type in some of your quick notes there, and then just position that little notepad square as close to the camera lens as possible. So just drag that to the top of your screen so that you are not looking elsewhere while you are actually doing your live stream. You want to have your eyes looking at the camera as much as possible, and your notes should be as close to that vantage point as possible. On the other hand, if you're doing something on your smartphone, like an Instagram Live, then of course that's harder to do, to have all of these things on your screen. In that case, you can just write out some bullet points. You're not writing out a whole script there because of course you will end up reading that, which kills the vibe of your live stream. Write out a couple bullet points that are just going to trigger and jog your memory, and then either tape that to your tripod just next to your smartphone or just keep it handy next to you. I would encourage you to remember there is no shame at referencing some notes. We are all professionals here. None of us are trying out to be the next Oprah Winfrey, I think. So as professionals, we are allowed to reference notes. This is our material. This is things that are important to our audience. They are not going to mind if they see you just quickly referencing your notes. It is far better to reference your notes than to absolutely forget a lot of the points that are important and then end up rambling during your live stream. Your audience won't forgive that as much as they will forgive you just looking at some notes. Now, this is something that I have had to do sometimes because my family members love to be on the internet as much as I do, but usually when I'm about to do a really important live stream, I ask them, please, do you mind just staying off for about 15 minutes if possible? So if you're living with people that you can ask that favor to, go ahead and ask that. As much of the bandwidth juice as you can get for your live stream, the better. Now, one thing that your live stream should have is a good title and a description. And if you're creating it for Instagram, you've got that option of also having a cover graphic for it. So these are things that you should be preparing in advance. It's a part of your prep work. Don't make the mistake of going live and then showing up at that screen that asks you, okay, where's your photo and where's your title and where's your description? And then having to think on the spot about what is the perfect material there. So plan all this in advance. Usually what I do is I think of a title, I think of a description, I think of my hashtags, and then I type all of that into an email and I send it to myself. That means after I've completed my Instagram live stream on my phone, without actually deleting that or closing that off, I just open up my email there on my phone, copy and paste all of that title and description and hashtag, copy it, go back to that Instagram screen, paste it right in. There it is, it's all ready. Similar to having a cover graphic. I just create those in Canva, world's best tool other than Zenler. So I create those and then I just upload those right away and I have it all handy. Now you do want to spend time having a short, interesting intro. It's very, very unlikely that the second you go live, that people will jump on and start saying things. Sometimes that happens if you have a really big following, but it usually takes a couple of seconds. So that intro is really, really important because people watch that in the replay. Don't forget that a lot of people will actually miss you live, but they will come back and watch the replay. So they are going to be watching that intro. If it is a boring intro, or if it's a rambling intro, or something that's not really well thought out, or if it seems like you're flustered there because you're just kind of having anxiety about doing a live stream, that will all reflect in the intro. And we know that that is a really important part. So spend time planning 1 or 2 really strong sentences that are a great hook to get into the rest of your material. Similarly, make sure that you have a strong ending. You don't just want to be the person that says, okay, thanks, bye, and then clicks X and walks off into the sunset. You want to end very confidently, very strong, have a friendly ending. So just like with your intro, think of 1 or 2 sentences that you're going to use to wrap up your live stream and promise yourself that you are not going to say more and more than that. End with that pre-prepared ending and then just have a very clean ending to your live stream. So one hot tip that I'll give you about your prep is that you should be allowing yourself way more time than you think that you need. When we do the calculation in our head about how much time it would actually take to create an intro and an ending and creating a graphic, we might think to ourselves, okay, that would only take like 5 minutes. This would only take another 2 minutes. These things take way longer than what we might expect. So you don't want to find yourself rushing in any way or feeling flustered because all of that is taking more time. So budget yourself enough time. All of the planning around the content topic and what you want to talk about, your intro, the graphic, that can be done way in advance of your live stream. If you're going live at 1 p.m., you don't have to wait until 12 noon to start doing all of this stuff. Do all that on the day when you are already planning out some content and you're in a mood to start thinking about this topic. The actual prep on the day of your live stream only has to be just short, quick prep. That's really just the stabilization of your device, making sure that there's actually light coming through the window and it's not pitch black outside, those type of minimal things. But budget yourself more time than you would actually think. So let's talk for a few seconds about the actual going live. This is the stuff that sometimes gives us anxiety because we feel like we're live, there's no retakes, there's no nothing. But consider to yourself the fact that being live on a live stream is very similar, in fact, in principle, to sitting with somebody at a coffee shop and talking to them about a topic that they are interested in. Just remind yourself that it is like this. The only difference is the dynamic of the video and the fact that you might have to be a little more animated on video than you are in real life. And that is just because by the time everything translates, your body language and everything has to come through. But it is something that does take practice, but it is far, far more worth it to learn how to do a live stream than other types of content that don't really give you the best bang for your buck. Now, the one great thing about Instagram Live and also Facebook Live is that there is actually a private setting or a setting that you can use to just practice going live first. So you can go through the entire motions of doing a live stream, but just set it to the private setting so nobody actually sees it. This is a really good thing to do, especially for your first couple of live streams, because when you do this, you can practice some critical things. For example, how to position yourself in the frame, what that screen actually looks like when it is going live, how much space you have at the top and the bottom, whether your background looks decent, whether you've got enough light on your face. So all of these things are really helpful. Then you can just watch back that practice private live stream and ask yourself some questions like, was I talking too fast? Was I talking too slow? Did I look nervous? Was I twirling my hair unnecessarily? Ask yourself all those things and give yourself an opportunity to get some feedback on that work. Now, definitely before you actually hit live, be ready a couple minutes before your scheduled time. There have been times in the past where I've had a live stream scheduled for 1 p.m. that I wanted to do, and it's 12:59 and I'm standing around combing my hair and doing all of those type of things. Absolutely not. At least 5 to 10 minutes before your live stream time, be seated in front of your device. This is an opportunity for you to check one more time with your little mirror on the side that you look as good as you want to look at that moment. You've got lighting, everything is stable, your internet connection is strong, you've hollered at your family to tell them to stop watching YouTube and get off the internet, that you are ready to go. Take a few minutes to take a quick breath and have a glass of water next to you. Use the washroom before that. Make sure that you are comfortable. Don't go running into your live stream. It will absolutely reflect at that moment. Now on Instagram, sometimes we like to use filters. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with using something that's, just light professional, makes you look like you if you are doing a live stream for an audience and talking about a professional topic that's related back to your business. But if you are going to use a live stream, make sure that you add that before you actually press the go live button. Once you press the go live button, you are live, folks. So you can't go back and add filters at that point. So this is just a quick thing to keep in mind. Now, when you go live at that exact minute, do not do this. Watch what I'm about to do. This is a classic behavior of people who have not done many live streams. Not only that, people who have done a lot of live streams sometimes do this. Watch what I'm going to do. Okay, so now I think that I'm live. Let me just see if anyone is joining. So let's just see. Yep, I think I'm live. Let me check on my phone if I'm live. So you don't want to do any of that. And this is what I call voicing your confusion out loud. If you press the live button, just trust that the universe has made you go live. You are live at that moment. You don't have to be voicing all of your confusion about whether you're live. Am I not live? Let me wait for people. Let me check if I'm live. Don't say any of that. Force yourself not to say any of that. Instead, as soon as you press live, jump in right away with a smile and a few seconds of small talk, a few seconds. Typically what I do is I press the live, and then even before pressing live, I have a very light, relaxed smile on my face, not a perma-grin, not an anxious looking look, just a light, relaxed smile. Then I press live, and then I sit silently looking at the camera lens for just a couple of seconds. I'm talking 3 to 4 seconds. I'm not going to say something like, let's wait and see if people join live. You don't have to wait and see. You are disrespecting the people who have actually taken the time to come live. Not only that, but many people will watch on the replay. That's just the reality of how live streams go. So you don't have to wait for 100 people to show up. That's not your role there. So instead, have a light smile on your face, sit silently for a couple of seconds, and then jump right away into your introduction. Spend a couple of seconds making a little bit of small talk and then jump in right away. So for example, if it was me, what I would do is I would press live, and then I would just sit silently, and then I would say, hello everyone, my name is Liz. I am so excited to join you live today so that we can talk about topic ABC. So let's take a few seconds just to get ourselves seated and comfortable, and let's jump right in. So after saying that, I would go right into the introduction that I have already prepared, and then I would just go for it. Don't wait and waste anyone's time, because if somebody is scrolling and sees you sitting around waiting for the heavens to open up, they will bounce off of that right away. Now be mindful of your hands waving in front of the camera lens. Sometimes this happens, especially if we are doing an Instagram live using our smartphone, because our phone might be somewhat close to us, and then our hands might have a tendency to go in front of the screen. So see, when I do this, how distracting that would be for you as a viewer. And my device, I'm situated almost 12 inches away from it. So it is so much more distracting in front of a smartphone. If you're a person who talks with your hands a lot like I do, then that is something you really have to be mindful of, and you can watch back your live streams and your videos to see whether this might be a habit that you have. If it's really becoming a problem, then figure out which is your dominant hand. So in my case, it's my right hand. I would just sit on my right hand. That will just kind of force me to start gesturing with my left hand, which feels very odd and awkward. And then I will eventually just stop it altogether. Once you develop more camera confidence, then you will learn how to just have light gestures that don't take up the entire screen, nor do they wave in front of the camera lens. Now, as I mentioned before, don't worry if people are not there watching live. because most people do watch the replay. This is often something that really troubles people when they're doing their first couple of lives, because they expect everyone in the world to be watching, and I've got 1,000 followers. How come there's only 3 people watching live? Don't worry about that. Usually you will find in the replay that there are significantly more views on that live stream than there are at that moment. Don't feel discouraged by that. Don't feel like you need to cut it short or that you need to apologize to your audience saying, oh, sorry that there aren't more people watching live. Don't voice any discouragement about that. Just continue on with your full confidence talking about your topic, and then people will catch that if it's of interest to them. Now, I always encourage you to introduce yourself a few times throughout the live stream, because you know that not everybody is going to jump in right from the second that you started. When you start your live stream, you might have X number of people that slowly trickle in, but then more people might come, some people might leave. And if people join you halfway through, they might not have any idea who you are. They might have just been scrolling on their phone and bumped into your live stream somehow. So just reintroduce yourself, reintroduce your topic. Keep that very tight. Do not go into a lengthy explanation about why you're there. Just reintroduce yourself and say something like, if you're just joining us, my name is Liz, and I run a company called Timebox Digital Media. And today we're talking live about topic ABC. And then just go back to your topic. Don't get caught up in that reintroduction over and over. Now, there is a feature that's a little bit of a fun feature. It's totally not necessary or mandatory, but if you are on Instagram Live, you do have an option of sending a little wave to anyone. It's just like a little fun emoji that you can send to anyone who joins. Now, the whole purpose behind this is you are actually just acknowledging that that person has joined you. So you can send a wave, or you can publicly acknowledge them if you wish. So that means when you are doing your live stream, when you see somebody joining the live, it will say their name there. It will say so-and-so has joined. So if you want, you can say, oh, welcome, Michael. So glad to have you today. And then continue on with your topic. That's absolutely optional. One thing that I've noticed is that sometimes when you publicly acknowledge people, they feel more obligated to stick around for the entire live stream because now you've called them out in public. It's kind of a funny thing, but it often works. So try it, or if that distracts you, you can just continue on with your topic, and that's absolutely fine. One thing that you will have to think about in advance is how to address your chat messages. This is one area that often trips up people, both in live streams as well as in webinars and masterclasses. That's because while we are focused on remembering our topic, staying enthusiastic, looking at the camera lens, not waving our hands wildly, not rambling, on top of all of that, chat messages may be coming in. Some of those messages might just be quick messages like, hi, tuning in from Toronto. Some of them might be just encouragement of the material that you are presenting. Like somebody might say something like, yes, I never thought about this, or wow, that's such a good point. Or somebody might drop in a question, or they might ask something in particular. So how do you keep track of all of this stuff while you are trying to actually host your live stream? So the one thing about Instagram Live is that later in the replay, those chat messages are not saved. So don't make the mistake of thinking to yourself, oh, I'm not going to focus on the chat messages at all. I'll just look at them all later after I post this. That's not going to work because those messages will disappear. So you do need to actually be able to get into a flow of saying a little bit and scrolling and just checking if there's any messages or any chat messages, I mean. So that is something that takes a little bit of practice. One thing that you can do is you can tell your audience every once in a while, friends, if you have any questions about this topic that I'm discussing today, make sure that you either drop a question using the question box, which is a feature that Instagram has. Your viewer will be able to see that on their screen. Or you can drop your question into the chat, but just please put a capital letter Q in front of it so that I can quickly find that question. So that's something that you can encourage your audience to do, just so that you can quickly scan and find questions. Otherwise, really what you would have to do is practice getting into that flow of addressing the chat and then returning to your topic. One thing that I often see people doing, if they're not really comfortable with doing live streams or webinars, is that they will get so engaged and focused on the chat that they will absolutely forget their train of thought that they were talking about and then find it really hard to go back to that. Beware of going down that line. So when you are addressing chat, you just want to quickly acknowledge the chat, quickly answer the question, or just, publicly recognize the fact that there's a message there and just maybe say it out loud so that everybody else can hear it there, because they might not notice it in the chat, and then quickly get back to what you were talking about. Don't end up going into a long, lengthy discussion just based upon the chat questions, because then it will be hard for you to stay within the time that you've given yourself for your live stream. Now, we're all used to adding a call to action by now with a lot of our content that we create anywhere on social media, for example. So similarly, your live stream can have a call to action just before you wrap up. You can tell people to check out a resource that you have. You can direct them towards the link in your bio, or you could tell them to find you some other place like your website, or send you a DM or any of that. People love doing this type of stuff, but they won't remember to do it unless you just casually mention it there. Now, you don't have to be selling something in your call to action. Really what it is, it's just a reminder to someone that they can have another touch point with you in some other way. So make sure that you sneak that into your closing outro before you actually log off from your live stream. Now, after you say goodbye and you are totally done everything in your live stream, end it as cleanly as possible. So we're talking about not having a lot of confusion on your face while you're trying to figure out, how do I get out of this thing? How do I end this live stream? Instead, aim to end that as cleanly as possible. So one tip or hack that I will give you is that at the beginning of your live, remember how I encouraged you to press live and then sit silently for a couple of seconds, 3 or 4 seconds, just with a light smile on your face. That 3 or 4 seconds is the perfect time for you to quickly look on the screen of your device and find the button that you have to press to end your live stream. If you're doing this on Instagram, that is going to be as easy as clicking the little X in the top right corner. As soon as you click that X, your live stream is ending there. So just find that. Use those 3 or 4 seconds just to find wherever it is on your screen. If you're doing a Facebook Live on your desktop or on your laptop, there is a little button on the bottom left usually that says End Live Stream. So just look out for that during those 3 or 4 seconds where you're sitting silently. That means when you are wrapping up your live stream, you can say thank you to everyone. Don't forget to check me out here and make sure that you follow my content for more great tips on how to do ABC. Take care and goodbye. And then you can just click that end, and it is a very clean cut. Now, one hot tip that I will tell you during your live stream is to relax and remain as true to yourself as you can. Now, why am I saying this? Now, if you are a coach, consultant, course creator, service provider, remember, as I mentioned at the beginning of today's session, people have to be invested in you. The content that you are talking about is only 50% of the relevance here. The other 50% is you as a personality, the way that you are using your words, gesturing, the way that you speak, your body language, your facial expressions. All of that is important. Your viewer needs to envision being able to work with you for 6 weeks or 8 weeks, or joining you in a program, or seeing you on a regular basis within one of your paid products. So you want to show up as close to your real personality as possible when you are in the live stream. This is why I tell my introverted clients, don't try to be an extrovert while you're on live stream, because that's not you. Show up as you. Dress the way that you would dress, but in a professional manner. Try to be in the most natural environment and use the phrases and lingo and words and tone of voice that you would always use. All you're doing is up-leveling it to a professional status, but you are remaining as true to you as possible. Imagine I showed up in a totally different way right now, dressed completely different and using all sorts of lingo that doesn't really reflect me the other 364 days of the year. If I do that, what I am doing on my live stream is attracting people who are interested in that alternate version of myself that's not actually the real version of me. So that means when that person sees me elsewhere, for example, what if they get on a Zoom consult with me? Or what if they see me on YouTube? Or what if they ask me to meet at Starbucks to discuss business? Or what if they join my program and they come and see me on Zoom every 2 weeks? What if they feel like the person that they signed up with is completely different from how I showed up on live stream? That is so disappointing. And in that way, you will not be attracting the right, perfect, ideal client for you. Let's talk quickly about editing and promotion. This is just a couple of slides just to sort of wrap up this whole idea of how you can have a perfect live stream. Now, your editing is going to be greatly reduced if you've got strong bandwidth and good phone quality. Sometimes we do see that when people update their phones, meaning all the systems there are updated and you're using a phone that is not super old, meaning not something that is 6 or 7 years old, many generations older, because all of the resolution has become degraded as you keep using your phone, then you will find that you will have a better quality of your actual live stream. You will have less lagging during the live stream, the color grading will be better, and the resolution will be crisper. So keep that in mind. So always try to include a title, a description, and a cover graphic that you have prepared in advance. Don't just go and post that live stream without any type of reference point or any information around it. Now, you can also decide on Instagram if you want to show this on your profile feed. That means not only can you save it to the video component of your Instagram account, but you can also show a certain, the first 60 seconds of that, like as a small clip, to your main Instagram feed. So that's a choice you have, whether you want to do that or not. But I always say, why not? Why wouldn't you show it there? That way, someone who comes across your feed can see that these are live streams that you've done, and they can quickly have a look at that. Let's think about some ways that you can promote your live stream. You can promote them even before you do them, and you can promote them after the fact. One thing that I like to do on Instagram is to add a post to my Instagram feed saying, this is a live stream that I'm going to do. This is the topic of it. This is the date. And you can even use the reminder feature on Instagram if you have access to that feature, which means that people can turn on that reminder and they will get a little reminder on their device on the day and the time that you are expected to go live. Similarly, you can add a story to your Facebook or to your Instagram using the countdown sticker and just telling people, hey, I'm going live at 5 p.m. today to talk about topic ABC. Make sure that you save this countdown sticker so that you can get a reminder on your phone. This is a great way to promote it, and people will actually do this. Now, one thing that I like to do is I like to show up on Instagram stories for a day or two before I actually do my live stream, just mentioning what that topic is and telling people why it's important. Sometimes when people hear the topic of your live stream, it doesn't immediately click into them why it's relevant to them or how that could change anything for them. So I can spend a day or two on stories just kind of talking it up, talking about it from different angles, reminding people of the day and time it's going to be, and who would be the right person that could actually benefit from that content. And you can share all of this stuff to your stories. Once you actually finish the live stream and it's saved to that video channel part of your Instagram account, you can share it to your stories, or you can even send it to other people personally. I've done live streams in the past that were on topics that I knew some people in my audience would be interested in, either because I know what type of work they're doing or because they've asked me questions on that topic. So isn't it a great form of customer service if you can take the link for that live stream and then just DM it to somebody, send it to somebody personally so that they can actually have a look at that. Now, here's an example of some different ways on Instagram where I would promote an Instagram live. This first square here shows you a countdown sticker and just a quick graphic that I added to my Instagram stories so that people know that I have a live stream on this day and on this topic, and they can share that. Then I posted some face to camera stories there just talking about the importance of this so that people knew what it was about. And then after I finished the live stream, I shared it again to my stories. So there directly, people could just click into it and go and watch that directly. So in this way, you have a chance to keep it circulating and keep people remembering that this is coming up and interested. And of course, don't ever waste any of the live streams that you do by just leaving them to collect dust somewhere. Go ahead and drop links to this stuff in all of the different places that you think it's relevant. If you have a habit of sending emails to an email list, then go ahead and drop a link for that live stream there and let people know, hey, last week I went live on my Instagram or my Facebook, And I was talking about topic A, B, and C, which is so valuable for you to know because that can absolutely drive you forward in your business. If you want to go ahead and watch the replay, go ahead and click here and then send people back to that site. Not only does it give people an opportunity to go and watch that live stream, the replay of it, that's one thing. But now they also have a direct access to your Instagram or Facebook, which they might not have been following before. So while they're there, of course, they might be interested in browsing your other content. As I mentioned, the key for live streams, especially if you are a course creator or a coach or a consultant or a service provider, is to stay authentic to yourself so you can attract the right audience. There is absolutely no point in doing live streams that are different versions of you, that promote you in a different way from how you want to be the other 364 days of the year. Remember that the whole golden aspect of a live stream is that people can actually see what you are like in real time. So this means that when they see you in real time, they can absolutely get a sense of what it's like to work with you, which means that you need to keep that as authentic and true to you as possible. So I thank you so much for listening to this. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to ask them, and you can find me in so many different places because I have a lot of different platforms that are active. And it was my pleasure, David, to share this information with all of you today.
Brilliant. Thank you, Liz. I've got the balloons out.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely amazing. Packed full of amazing tips there on all sorts. I mean, that's social media in general and live in general, but focusing a little bit on Instagram there at the end, which is really, really good. So amazing, Liz. I know you've got a load more subjects as well to talk about. What I want to do, we've had such a good day today. We've had some real amazing speakers on today, and I want to split all of pretty much everybody out and put them onto our YouTube channel as individual videos, because I think they're all self-contained.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like you again, Liz, it's a bit like Kirsty. You've covered so much.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. So I mean, absolutely free. You know, this is free to you guys. You're getting all this expert help for free. Liz, you don't mind if people contact you directly, do you, through the Facebook group?
I would be delighted. More than welcome.
So what I've done is I've put in there, people will tag you, so they'll ask you a question. And also I know I'm going to show your website, Liz.
Thanks.
So I know that on here you have a free studio guide here, don't you?
Yes. Yeah, I do. That's a great resource for someone who is not really sure what type of equipment they should get if they want to start making videos at home, because I know a lot of people hold themselves back from creating videos because they think that they need all this expensive stuff. So this is actually a planning and purchasing guide. It's got direct links to different products. Just with a couple of clicks, you can just decide what is best for you, and you don't have to research this stuff all over Google for the next 100 weeks.
Yeah, is this on a budget as well, this?
So it's for different budgets. So for people that want to do things more affordably, or for people who have a bit of a budget set aside, there's lots of different options there.
Oh, fabulous. And down here we have a home, create a home studio. So that's the same as that one up there. Yeah. And yeah, just have a look through. There's loads of things here. You can find out a little bit more about Liz as well. She's already covered a lot. You just speeded through it all. So this is Liz's website. It's inside the comments under the video there. Liz also has a YouTube channel. I love a YouTube channel. It's looking really good. And I love the way that you're color coordinated, Liz, yes, with your slides. That was very cool.
Thank you. Canva for the win, always.
Canva, yeah, but the outfit, it just matches everything. It's brilliant. So if you look down here, this is really good. Again, like I'm guessing you've got a Canva template and you just swap the image out, duplicate, swap the image, change the text, and bang, it's done. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I always tell people, don't focus on the things that are not the game changers. The game changers with video is your actual content. So don't spend 15 hours to make one thumbnail. Instead, create a good thumbnail, know it works, test all of that, and then spend more time developing that content and developing the confidence to actually say it on video.
Yeah, and that does a second thing as well. It keeps things consistent.
Yes, yes.
I mean, how many channels do we see where just everything's different throughout, and you're kind of like, is this the right person? Is that
Right.
you know? And it becomes, it's the whole branding thing. It's like there's not much to remember with branding. It's like, stick to your colors, stick to your font, keep it consistent. That's it. If you do that, it doesn't matter what you're doing. It's all going to look attuned to your brand and your company. So lastly, we have here, we have the actual New Zenler site as well. So this is the courses from here lead to New Zenler. So you can look around, see what Liz has done. It's really good. You can see how professional she is. Again, like, we've had real high-end professional speakers on today, and it's been an absolute delight to finally meet you, Liz. It's great. I know I'd like to, again, there's a few speakers today I'd like to have on again, because you've got just a wealth of knowledge to share. But of course, you know, you're busy and you're doing all this for free. So I'm sure, like, guys, if you're watching this, give Liz and all the people on today, give them the big thumbs up, because they are giving you their information for absolutely free. And they're giving you their time as well, which is, you know, life's short. So they're giving you their time as well. So much respect for you today for that. Thank you so much, Liz.
Thanks, David. Thank you to the entire team, especially, you know, all the live streaming that you do. It really makes a difference. And New Zenler is not the first platform that I have attempted to use, but it's absolutely the one that I will stick with, because this live element makes the biggest difference. And it makes me as a customer to really feel like, you know, the Zenler team is available. And the fact that you do the live streaming is such a big deal, because you're giving us direct access to you. We don't have to book a consult 6 months away and then wait for that. We have direct access to your team all the time, who's always available here. So such a great thing. Thank you so much.
Oh, no, it's our pleasure. We're always trying to look at ways we can, you know, how we can do things better. We've had lots of people say they like to read articles instead of videos. So we're working towards perfecting that, and just to make that information even quicker. Mm-hmm. And like, you'll probably notice, Liz, that anytime responses go in there about what we're doing, or this would be good, we always respond to it. We're always open to changing the way things work. At the moment, we've got the thing I see about it now is, rather than from when we started like two years ago, is now so much information. And it's now a case of trying to coordinate that information so it's really quick to get to. So that's the next phase of what me and Kevin and the team are doing for the educational support side. Of course, you know, all the new releases go out as usual, you know. You know, the team are busy pushing those out, but we're just concentrating on making information quick so that people can get it.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in the tutorial section, just with 1 or 2 keywords to be able to find exactly what they're looking for, then they can reduce that overwhelm, because that's certainly where I was when I first started, because I felt like if I was looking to do one specific thing, then I wasn't sure which of the 15 options that came up were the right one for me. And then I would get overwhelmed there. But it's gotten quite a bit more streamlined just in that short time that I've been on too. So yeah,
we updated the tutorial site, but we're trying to get into lots of these articles and videos, shorter videos, to the point. If you need more information, you can get it, but they'll actually be in your admin side. So if you're looking at Drip, you can press a little eye icon. The video will come out. It will go to support doc. There'll be additional videos in there if you want a more in-depth workshop. And I think that would be a really smooth process. The aim here, Liz, is not to have any questions on the Facebook group. So people are just chatting about what they're doing. That's the ideal. Then we know we've done it.
But what if we're obsessed with the Facebook group, David? What if we spend the whole day in there?
We'll always be there. We'll always be supporting, because, you know, we're always coming up. And that's the great thing. It's like you might think of something, and this is what I love, is like when someone thinks of something, can I do that? You know, I've not seen anybody doing that. And then that's up to us to do a video to show you how you could do that. So that's when it becomes really good, because then you can spend more time helping people out on a more personal, individual level, and
Right.
things chat, then the whole thing changes. You know, the whole thing changes into something even more special than it is now, and it's pretty special. So it's lovely. Thank you so much, Liz. We're going to end now. It's 2 minutes to 6. That's enough for today. I think people are going to be like,
thank you so much. Thanks. I know, quite the day. Yeah.
No, it's fabulous. Thank you, Liz. You've been
you.
brilliant.
Thank
The team
you.
thanks you as well.
Most welcome. Thank you very much, everyone. Take care.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.
So there we are, guys. That was Liz. Amazing stuff. It's really good to see people's backgrounds, you know, like she's like Facebook, Google, all these things that she's worked from, when she just did a little video and then just started it off, and then she was approached. I mean, how amazing is that? So you get these lovely stories and journeys on some of our instructors, and it's so amazing. You know, it's really good to see where people have come from, and that they're using the platform now. You know, they're using the platform there. They like what we're trying to do here. It's all really good. So Andrew's back. Andrew's on for a little bit. He's probably looking on his phone and checking in. So yeah, you're welcome, Andrew. Yeah, thank you, guys. Thank the team. Thank Kirsty. Thank Howard. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Liz. Obviously, Alice, Mamit, and Liz. I've already said other Liz Zenler, and our other Liz here. So great. We're going to end it now. That's it. It's 6 o'clock. We finished. We've done 7 hours today, and this has been really good. And like I said, this video day, session 1, session 2, they will go up on our YouTube channel. I'm going to cut them up because there's lots of stuff going on. So Mami and Sid Hunt did Japanese as well, so I'll split that out. That's random, isn't it? Japanese. Amazing. All right, guys. Hope you, if you're watching on replay, put #replay and let us know what you think. And remember, you can just type Andrew's name, Liz's name, Kirsty's name, Mammy, you know, Alice, Liz, number, Liz Zenler, and that's going to get confusing, isn't it? And they will answer any questions. So if you see anything in there on session 1, session 2, put their names, tag them in, and they will answer your questions in there. And check out the websites as well that we put in the session, because you'll see what the instructors are doing that came on today as speakers. Thanks, and I will see you soon. Have a lovely weekend and take care. See you later. Bye.